Is Janet from another planet? 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 Is Janet from another planet?
The following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences. The following program...
Okay, so Chris, we've just been listening to this team of autism experts. What do you make of this?
Well, I think it's going to depend on where and how the defense is trying to use this, as mitigation evidence. On the one hand, you look at it and you think, well, what are you telling us exactly? That we need to be, or is he's autistic, and does that make him scary to us? Does that excuse what he's done? They got to weave it together and tell the jury, why do we need to know this? How does this help us decide the ultimate decisions in the case?
Right.
So, like we were discussing, I don't want the jury, or if I was the defense, I wouldn't want the jury to think, hey, they're trying to excuse this by saying he's autistic, or he's got PTSD, or he had a bad childhood, or whatever it is, because they're not going to go for that. Nobody's going to go for that. They need to say, at least I would hope, at least I would think that the defense would be, look, we can't excuse the crime.
Right.
It's inexcusable. It's unforgivable. And we're not asking you with a straight face to excuse it. What we're trying to do is paint a picture of who Tanner is, so that you as jurors can make a well-reasoned, unemotional decision after having all the facts, even the things that might contradict each other. We want you to learn everything that we know, everything that you can know about this man, and come to the conclusion that his life ought to be spared, and he ought to spend the rest of his life in prison with no hope of release.
Right.
Which is no cakewalk.
No. But the thing is that the experts have been all over the map, right? Yesterday you had one expert said he doesn't have bipolar. Now we've got another expert saying he is bipolar.
There's going to be some of that is to be expected again, but you've got to lay that out for the jury so that when they hear it, they're receptive to it. The human mind isn't like an 8-cylinder engine where you can look at it and everybody can agree what's wrong with it and how to fix it. It's more of, based on your training, what do you think? Different psychiatrists might, as we've seen, come to different conclusions because it's a very, very difficult science.
Right.
So you'd want to lay that out to the jury that, hey, you might hear conflicting opinions, but they're all going to tell you that it's
mitigating.
Right. So you got to lay it out ahead of time so the jury isn't sitting there thinking, why are we hearing this?
I don't recall much of that in their opening statement, but that's also been almost a month ago now.
Right.
It's been a long time.
So the defense will have a great opportunity during the close is to try and bring that all together.
Okay.
Now, whether it's going to work or not, it's going to be uphill. But that's the theory, I think, is why we're hearing this.
Okay, well, let's bring in Rebecca Lopez. senior crime and justice reporter who's at the courthouse. Rebecca, Chris Mulder, and I have been listening to this testimony this morning.
Mhm.
And of course, just continuing to kind of talk about these experts have really just been kind of all over the map.
Yeah, Tanya, that's what I noticed also, that they all have different diagnoses. Some agree, some don't agree. But I tell you, the prosecution is going to bring a very credible witness. I've already heard his testimony when they were doing the hearings without the jury. And he's going to say that after he studied all the records and looked at all this and also met with Tanner Horner, does not believe that he falls on the autism spectrum and does not have autism spectrum disorder. And so I think that that's going to be, really interesting. I was glad that the prosecutor in rebuttal, the DA finally said, so, other autistic people, but they're not, they don't commit violent crimes. They don't kill children. I mean, I thought that was effective because I kept saying, why doesn't anybody ask that? Most autistic people, and even she acknowledges a very, very small percentage actually act out violently. And I think that's very important that they pointed that out. And then he also pointed out what I pointed out before the testimony. Somebody needs to say, he's in segregation. He does still have limited access. He's not in the general population. He does not have as much access to people. And it is more controlled when he is in a cell by himself, only able to talk to the guy from yesterday through a steel wall. So,
Chris,
I thought that was good that they brought that up.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I think it's a mistake to try and turn this into a discussion about demonizing autistic people. Which I hope that's not where we're going with this, and that would lose a whole lot of credibility. But rather to put it out there, again to make an attempt at mitigation. Now, if the state has a very good witness who has reviewed everything and says, "Hey, I totally disagree with this," that's going to be a powerful evidence for the jurors back when they're deliberating to say, hey, well, what about, the prosecution witness who said, he didn't buy any of it.
Okay, yeah, well, right, because for me, I just keep going back to Dr. Ryan yesterday. You had her saying, things that Tanner Horner had said that we know aren't true.
Right.
Like that he used cocaine and he thought Athena had seen him and so he kidnapped her. And I'm like, why are you seemingly believing that? I struggled with, I mean, it's like, it just almost just like the unwillingness to acknowledge, like, this guy's got some serious problems here,
Yeah, give us something realistic, because if she swallowed all that, then as a juror you're thinking, well, if she fell for that stuff, I'm not going to believe anything she says.
Exactly.
So you gotta take the good with the bad. You can't just say, take his whole story and then believe it, and then come to your conclusion that, this, that, and the other, PTSD and autism and whatever else, because then the jury's thinking, well, you're just paid here to come in and tell us this.
Exactly. Well, and she was paid quite a bit. Rebecca, talk to us about what's coming up this afternoon?
So this afternoon, we are going to hear from Tanner Horner's grandmother. She's making her way now to the courthouse. And again, because she has health issues, they are going to take her testimony in, smaller amounts of time and probably take a few breaks. But she's to take the rest of the afternoon, then no court tomorrow. And then we still have one more defense expert to this on Monday. And then they are done with their case. Then we'll hear the rebuttal witnesses. But I just don't know how. I feel like they're losing this jury by continuing to bring in expert after expert. They all are saying some similar things, some different things. I feel like it would have been more effective, at least in my opinion, just from watching and being in the courtroom and observing, that they could have condensed a lot of this with one or two or three expert witnesses, maybe three expert witnesses. I don't know how many, but definitely not the 19 or whatever that they have called to the stand.
What do you think about that, Chris?
I think there's a lot of truth to that. But again, they're probably only playing to one or two jurors who are at all sympathetic to the mitigation defense. I think the vast majority of the jurors probably already have decided. I know they're not supposed to, and I mean, I get that, but it's awfully hard not to sit there and already make your mind up. But there might be a couple who you can reach, and that's got to be what the defense is
just
trying for. Just
hope.
hoping that something resonates with one or two people, so that they can hold out against death. That's it.
Okay.
That's all you can do.
You're just trying to see what sticks against the wall, basically.
That's pretty much.
Okay. Hey, Rebecca, somebody had a question that Zeke asked me to. It's from the chat. Somebody said, if he's in solitary, how is he able to make friends? With our inmate that testified yesterday.
Excuse me. Can you ask that again?
Somebody asked in the chat
if well, so I asked.
So if he's in solitary, how is he able to make friends?
Yes, Tanya. Well, he made friends with that one person that came forward yesterday, the guy that they nicknamed him Chicken or whatever they called him, because they share a cell wall, and it's I mean, they're not very far apart. I mean, they're like, they're right next to each other, and through that steel wall, you could still hear, and they can still talk to one another. They talk to each other through that wall. That's why he's able to make friends with that guy. But he's not, out there in the general population making friends with, the people and the inmates in this jail. It's just that one guy that shares that wall with them.
And depending on how the cells are configured, a lot of times inmates can communicate through the plumbing, through the drain.
Really?
Yeah, because it all connects and drains to the same place, so you can talk through the pipes.
Wow, live and learn. Live and learn. See, I haven't been in a jail cell. Haven't spent any time there, so I was not aware of that. Rebecca, were you aware they can talk through the pipes? Is that a new one for you?
Well, I've seen that in movies, but I actually didn't know that.
See, even after all these years in this business, even you and I can learn something, and so Chris has taught us something new. Rebecca. What kind of expert are we expecting? What's this last expert that we think we're going to get from the defense? I guess on Monday then?
Yeah, honestly, I thought and had heard that the last expert we were going to hear from on Monday was Dr. Ryan, but they brought her up earlier. So I suspect that we're just Grandma's going to be the last character witness. And then we'll hear from another expert, a psychiatrist that's basically going to try to weave all of this together.
Okay, well, he's got some weaving ahead of him because he's going to have to bring in testimony from all these experts together and then explain to the jury why it's important and why it means that Horner shouldn't die.
Right. So if you're the defense attorney and you're talking to Grandma on the stand, what are you hoping to get?
Grandma's not going to bring a lot to the party. She's going to, obviously say that, he's a good boy and he did this, that, and the other thing for me when he was little, and don't kill him. But that's to be expected from Grandma. So she might be a time filler to make the trial last an extra day till your other psychiatrists can testify, but or maybe Horner felt very strongly that she testify, so you call her to appease him, but Grandma's not going to save his life. She's going to say again what every grandmother's going to say.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't expect a withering cross-examination of Grandma.
Right. I mean, she's going to be apparently an elderly lady with MS. So
she'll contribute her 2 cents, and I bet she's out without any cross-examination at all.
Folks liked your comment about Grandma is not going to bring a lot to the party.
Okay.
You're not as colloquial as Cody was. I mean, Cody had them rolling. Oh, hey, there's Rebecca. We got her back. She keeps dropping in and out. Okay, Rebecca, go ahead.
Well, yeah, every time I get a phone call, it knocks me off. So I don't know how to fix that. But anyway, I think that one of the things that if I would look for, if I were the prosecution on cross with Grandma without, I mean, she's going to come off sympathetic to him, would be what and I don't know, how truthful she would, be, or how open she would be, but we need to know more about his history. Did he have a history of other abuse in that family, or did he get involved with any of the other family members? That sort of thing. I mean, I feel like we don't have the answer to that because Tanya, as you and I and a lot of experts have told us, you don't just start off by as a to kill a 7-year-old girl and commit sexual acts. There is a history, and whether or not the defense has been able to find it or brought it forward, I mean, he's got to have some sort of history of other violence or or more of a pedophilia kind of diagnoses, even though Dr. Ryan says no, he's not. Be experts tell us people don't just start off by doing something like what he did to Athena. There is an escalation of that, and we know that he started fires as a kid. We know that there have been these other people that the 2 girls that he victimized. Allegedly, he's indicted for that.
I was about to add the word allegedly,
and said that he had sex with them when they were underage. Yeah, allegedly. Yeah, he's indicted. He's not been convicted, but people, when they took the stand, they accused him of having sex with them when they were underage, and he was in his 20s. And so, I would want something more like from Grandma, a history of what happened.
Go ahead, Chris.
Wow. I mean, that again, that could cut both ways. I mean, you don't want Grandma to come down here and say, well, yeah, I remember the fire starting. Yeah, little Tanner. And then what is she gonna? You don't want her to talk about other horrible things that he did as a kid. I mean, geez, that just gives ammo to the prosecution. I'd say leave that alone, unless Grandma can come in and say, yeah, crazy cousin, whatever, used to touch Tanner and do, if she can do that kind of thing, and give a reason for why he's damaged in some way. Again, mitigation, that's helpful. But I sure don't want Grandma to come in and talk about any other offenses that he might have committed. I mean, that's not going to help.
That's dangerous territory.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, Rebecca, we understand. So Grandma's going to basically, she's got MS then?
Yes, she has MS, and she's actually in a wheelchair. So they're bringing her in through, a special entrance here at the courthouse. And then, and again, she's not in good health, and so her testimony is going to be limited to short spurts.
Okay.
It could be helpful a little bit again, but Grandma's going to say, "Don't kill Sonny."
Right.
That's what she's going to say, unless she can again bring something horrible, some dramatic childhood event that life altering event. She's of limited use, I think.
All right, Rebecca, we're going to wrap up for lunch. Is anything else you want to add?
Tanya, just one.
Go ahead.
Well, just one of the things that I thought that, Mom was also, I thought, Mom was being very sympathetic. And then she actually ended up hurting Tanner with some of her testimony, because she ends up saying, well, yeah, he would come tell me to get his kid because he was afraid he might hurt him. And so you don't know what's going to come out of Grandma's mouth that may not go the way the defense wants it to go.
So Grandma could hurt him, right, Chris?
She could. Yeah. I would like to think that Grandma's been interviewed about, what it is that she's going to say, but you never know. She could open the door to something that hurts, just like
Mom did.
Yeah, just like Mom.
Okay. All right, Rebecca, we will catch you back after lunch then. Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to take a break until shortly before 1. I believe, if I'm understanding correctly, they're supposed to come back around 1. So we'll come back, let me see, it's 12:20, about 10 till. We're going to, and we'll take a break, and we will see you back here shortly. All right, I'm Tanya Iser, senior investigative reporter here at Channel 8. Chris Mulder, who is our legal expert for the day. Chris, just your reactions to what we heard this morning.
Well, we heard conflicting ideas about whether Horner has PTSD, autism, and to what degree. And the scientists couldn't agree with each other a lot. Well, scientists, I say doctors. But we'll see if it's enough for the defense to unify into a theory of why the jury should spare his life for this crime. And I think that the defense is really going to have their work cut out for them, differentiating between being perceived as making an excuse for the crime versus letting the jury know who it is that they're going to be sentencing.
Right.
And
that's really hard to separate.
Right. And it's really going to anger the jury if they get the feeling that you're trying to excuse the murder with autism, PTSD, and a rough childhood, because they're not going to buy that for a second. No. You got to make it clear that's horrible. This is this other thing we need you to decide.
Yeah. And having watched, I think we're in day 7. Yeah, day 7 of the defense's side. And it feels to me like they have muddied the waters, right? Dr. Ryan was all over the map. Yesterday you had the stuff about the cocaine use, and then talking about how his, the thing that really kind of got me was she was talking about how he doesn't have good executive function, his poor executive function, which is clearly true. And that he had that he had trouble with problem solving. And what the prosecution did was come back and say, well, he problem solved when he kidnapped her, and he problem solved when he dumped her body, and he problem solved when he, made up a story to his boss, and he, went up and down the litany of the problem solving, and just I came away with having a difficulty finding anything mitigating about it.
Right. And that's the hard part, because some of it, like poor executive function, the last thing you want to hear some doctors say is, well, he's got really hard, really difficult impulse control. I mean, that makes you want to give the death penalty, not spare it.
Right. Right.
So you got to be careful with what kind of testimony you elicit from these people, because some of it is frightening. Poor executive function.
Well, he's clearly got some decision-making issues.
Well, that's not a plus for the defense, I don't think. I'd want to hear he's remorseful. This is what I want to hear. Again, I want to hear about him. Why shouldn't we kill? Because that's what they're asking the jury to do. And you got to emphasize that too to the jurors. Hey, this isn't some theoretical punishment. Your vote on this thing means we're going to kill him on purpose at a scheduled day and hour. Not, oh, well, he'll die at some future point. You got to make the jury very much own the fact that they are, even though the judge will pronounce the sentence, I get it, and they're only answering the special issues. That's a way to kind of buffer them from personal responsibility. Hey, we didn't kill him. We just answered the special issues. The judge was the one who sentenced him to death. But make no mistake, the jury needs to understand that their answers on the special issues determines whether he lives or dies. Well, he's going to die in prison either way. Any way you slice it, the guy's going to die.
Well, he's never getting out.
Right.
No matter what.
Sure. He'll either die by lethal injection after a long appeal. He'll die of old age, such as it is in prison, which isn't long, or he'll die by accident or misadventure in prison, or he'll get murdered by another inmate.
Right.
But he's going to die there, however you slice it.
He is. He will never again be a free man.
Right.
That's just a reality. No matter what this jury decides. So people are asking about the brother. All we know for sure publicly is that the brother, that we know that the defense team had been planning to call him all along throughout this trial. We were given to understand that the brother was going to testify and that we were going to be hearing from him on Zoom. And then yesterday, suddenly, we have been told that he's not going to be testifying. Why do you think that is, Chris?
There could be a lot of reasons. He may have lost his nerve and doesn't want to be on record for all time defending his brother. He may not have some flattering things to say about him that they're afraid is going to come out during cross-examination. And, it's not worth it to risk this coming out, because if he says, hey, I'm not going to lie if they ask me about this, this, and this.
Right.
They say, hey, forget it. We don't need you. Or, they may have asked him, do you think your brother ought to die for this? Yeah. And then that's, I don't care what he says. That's not going to help. So either he got cold feet or
they got cold feet.
Yeah.
Somebody got cold feet.
Right.
So here's a question for you, Chris, from our chat. Somebody says, is it not an issue for the defense to have experts who are contradicting each other?
I mean, is it optimal for the defense? No. But then again, wouldn't it look suspicious if they all were in lockstep as to exactly what their opinions were? Then it looked like they'd just been paid, it's this much for this guy.
Right, in other words, if they sounded too similar.
Yeah.
That's
then it looks like it's just bought and paid for. You'd expect a little inconsistency. And again, the defense has got to weave that together and explain it. But I like my car engine example.
Okay. You can tell it.
How different people will diagnose different problems. We'll see if it works.
I try to go with the one that's cheaper at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I do have a place that I typically take my truck because they seem to not be want to help me part with more of my money. Explain to folks what mitigation is. What does that really mean?
It's it's hard to explain it. It's kind of for each juror to decide what they think it is. Mitigation. I guess as you go through a capital murder case, first, do the facts of the case warrant a charge of capital murder? And everybody's pretty familiar with that. Police officer, fireman, children, elderly, during a robbery, during a certain other felonies, burglary, sex assault, all those. First, does it hit the elements to make it a capital? Second of all, again, then you've got to decide, okay, are the facts of the case, what is it? Do they even warrant asking a jury for the death penalty? Some people think that they ought to get asked every time if it's on the table. Other DAs are more careful about who they choose. And then you get to the first special issue: is this person a continuing danger? And again, a jury can interpret that however they want. Whether they think he's going to be dangerous to the other guards and inmates in prison. And what does dangerous mean? Does that mean, he's going to assault people, kill people?
Actually, somebody was asking, can you explain that first question?
It doesn't. It's whatever you think it is. If you as a juror say, this guy's going to be dangerous, that's enough. And it doesn't have to be, do you think he's going to kill again? Do you think he's going to seriously injure people? It's just simply dangerous.
Right. And so the jury can just determine what dangerous means to them.
Each juror will have to decide for themselves that, yes, I believe he's dangerous. In this case, you don't want to concede that, because you don't want to concede anything. You conceded guilt already, which is a step in the right direction strategically, but you don't want to concede that he's a future danger. But I think a lot of people are going to already kind of be on board with that. So then you're at the your last ditch is there anything about this particular defendant, even though the crime is horrible, even though we think he's dangerous, is there anything about him, his history, his moral blameworthiness,
Right.
and the facts surrounding his life, where a jury thinks, locking him in a cage for the rest of his life is sufficient rather than killing him.
I think it's going to be fascinating to see what this jury decides and how long it takes them to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've mentioned this on the other day on a live stream. I've got someone I know is a death penalty is a death penalty opponent. He's very active in that community, and even he said if ever there was a case that he could go for the death penalty, it was this one.
Exactly. Yeah. I same thing. I have a close friend of mine who is a very anti-death penalty. He said, for this guy, I'd make an exception.
Yeah. I mean, to me, Tanner Horner checked all the boxes.
Exactly. From the victim, young girl, age 7, the deceit, the lying, all the aggravating factors. I mean, every step of the way, it got more and more aggravating. Dumping the body and this bull about Zero, the alternate personality. I mean, come on. Every time he had a chance to not aggravate the situation, he chose the other way.
Right. Okay, so someone's asking, or folks are asking, they're all curious about why sexual assault was not charged in this case.
Well, if you're the prosecutor and you're drafting the indictment, you want to pick the easiest thing that you can prove. And remember, when you're picking the jury, you've got to tell them it's a murder with this circumstance.
Right, and he kidnapped her.
Right. Because, she even said, are you a kidnapper?
Yeah.
So that's easy to prove. And when you're qualifying the jury, though, you have to tell them a little bit about the case. Well, this guy's charged with murder during the course of a kidnapping. And, could you give death penalty? Could you not? Could you keep an open mind? If you tell the jury panel, this guy's accused of sexually assaulting a 7-year-old, then murdering her, but you could keep an open mind about whether or not he's going to get the death penalty, people would say, I can't keep an open mind about that. And then you don't get, as a prosecutor, you lose a lot of really, really good jurors because they're too strong.
Right.
So you go,
because when you bring in sex assault, you bring in a whole different element of things.
Right. A lot of people will say, I forget it. I could not give the death penalty on a guy who rapes a 7-year-old.
Right. But obviously, kidnapping is, while it's terrible, it carries a different connotation.
Doesn't sound as bad.
Right. I get it. And you don't have to bring in a sex assault.
That's just gravy.
Right. So you don't have to bring that into the indictment itself. But
right.
when during the trial, which as we've seen, they're bringing it out.
And it comes out, and then the jury's like, well, damn, he did that too. He kidnapped her and then, it gets everyone more fired up.
Right. Okay. Some folks are asking, how many appeals do they get with the death penalty? I am not, and I don't think you're claimed to be a death penalty appeal expert, because I just know that they get an automatic appeal, and that process can take anywhere from 10, 15, 20 years, just depends.
Yeah, I would think this one would be a little faster than your usual, which is, incredibly slow, because guilt was conceded. So you're not going to have a lot of appellate issues about whether he's guilty or not guilty. It's going to be simply, did the judge make a mistake such that the verdict would have been different had he let evidence in or excluded evidence? That's what this thing's going to go down to. But the system is so careful, at least it tries to be so careful about death penalty cases. You can't even plead guilty to accept death if you wanted to. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a defendant who wants to be put to death. He can't even say, you know, I'll answer the special issues for you, put me to death. The system doesn't even allow it. A jury has to make that decision. And you can't waive a jury and let a judge do it either. The jury has to do it.
Exactly. So folks want to know. I'm watching the chat here. I'm trying to. Somebody wants to know, would you take this case? I already asked you that question off camera, so we'll do it. So
would I take the case? I mean, you know, the answer would be, I guess, is the real question: am I morally opposed to taking the case, or is there some amount of money that would make me take the case?
Okay. Either one you would like to answer, or you could answer both.
You know, of course, I mean, everybody has a number as far as taking a case, but it would be ridiculously cost prohibitive for somebody to hire me to do this. And I would have to be honest with them and tell them, you know, you can spend $1 million, you know, on experts and lawyers and investigators, and you know, flying people in from out of town. But I would tell the family, if they wanted to do this, you can spend all this money, and I think we're still going to lose. So it's up to you. If you want to spend it, that's fine. If you've got unlimited resources, spend it. But if you don't, don't. It's not a wise investment.
Okay.
Am I morally opposed to it? No. Everybody, as much as awful as the offenses are, everybody is entitled to a lawyer. If lawyers said, well, I'm not going to take this kind of case, or this kind of case doesn't deserve a defense, then you've got people in jail who can't have a lawyer. The case never gets tried.
Mm-hmm.
They just sit there. There's no closure for the victim. You know, they just sit there taking up space because everyone is morally opposed to taking their case. So the way I look at that is, you know, I feel like sometimes, you know, I'm an emergency room doctor. You bring the patient in. I don't know anything about him. I try and do the best I can with what I have. And, you know, sometimes you can save them and sometimes you can't. But I try not to morally judge people and say, this person is worthy of a defense. This other person is not worthy of a defense.
Right. Okay. All right. Rebecca's on V-Call. She's on Rebecca. Well, maybe we lost her again. See, she was, now you see her, now you don't. Okay, so then the other question folks had, I don't know if Jennifer Martin was the person who put that question, and I don't know if that's one of your friends or if it's just somebody that just happens to be watching. Would your dad have taken this case?
He would have taken any case. He would have loved it.
I mean, your dad was kind of a legend.
Yeah.
Around the Dallas County Courthouse. So, and in this area.
Again, it would have been, the fee would have been ridiculous.
Right. And folks are asking us, are these public defenders that have, yes, these are public defenders that are representing Tanner Horner. It's part of a special, I forget the name of this unit, but it's a special unit that defends people that are charged with these sorts of crimes.
Right.
So, and yes, and folks have asked, like, who's paying all the bills? I don't know if I don't know if it's Wise County totally, or if it's some combination. I'm not really sure I know the answer to that.
And I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that Wise County contracts with the defenders. So all the counties that are participating in this defense contribute to it to keep the lawyers on the payroll covering these kinds of cases. If you don't do that, then the county would have to appoint attorneys and pay the attorneys completely by themselves. So I think this is a way for the counties to be a little more cost effective as far as keeping competent death penalty lawyers ready at a more reasonable price than perhaps pulling a couple private lawyers off the street and assigning it to them. Because this is I mean, to do a case like this, you've got to shut down virtually all your other cases.
Right. This is all you're doing.
Right.
Right. Okay, so let's bring Rebecca Lopez back in. Rebecca?
Yeah, and Tanya, I can actually answer the question y'all were just talking about. they are the Wise County is paying for all of this. I went and specifically asked the judge. The records right now are sealed as far as the how much they're paying, but I can tell you it's well over $500,000, and it's all paid for by the Wise County citizens.
So Wise County is paying. So yeah, but right now Chris
Yes.
Mulder cannot hear you in his ear. We're still working on some technical issues. This, as you know, Rebecca, for this sometimes happens in our world where they call them IFBs, folks. And so right now we were trying to get it fixed before we went live. So at the moment, Chris can't hear. So if you have a question for Chris, Rebecca, I'll have to relay it. So, but what are we expecting? We have Grandma coming on the stand, right, for this afternoon?
Yes, right. The grandmother's going to take the stand, and she will be on there all afternoon as long as it takes. They want to get her testimony done in one afternoon. And so they are going to try to move it along and maybe not take as many breaks as they were going to initially, but they're going to just try to get through all of her testimony this afternoon. And Tanya, on the break, I also went to find out, Tanner Horner's living conditions, like where is he? So he is in a special area of the Tarrant County Jail that is basically solitary confinement. It's for the highest risk people, whether or not it's threats against them, or they pose a threat to society, escape risk, or they pose a threat to other inmates and are violent. They keep them 24/7. They got separate showers. They don't interact with anyone other than the guard to bring them their food, but they don't even get recreational time. They don't even get out to go do anything, is my understanding. And so the fact that he has had no real issues with anyone at the jail, is he doesn't really have access to anyone.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, yeah, that's to be expected, that he wouldn't have any. If you have no interaction with anybody,
you can't do anything.
Right. So is that a plus?
Right.
He's in solitary.
Exactly. Hey, Rebecca, folks are asking, and I want to make sure I don't want to misspeak on this. Somebody keeps putting in the chat asking about the medical examiner and the issues about the spermicide with Athena, Strand. Kind of walk us back through what that testing showed.
Tanya, can you re-ask that question one more time? It's going in and out.
So one of the things I do is I monitor the chat, and so they keep asking the question about in terms of what kind of testing they did related to spermicide. Like, what did that testing? Walk folks back through what that testing showed.
Oh, the testing of
the DNA testing.
There was. Yes, the DNA testing. Yeah, they did find when they did the DNA testing that his sperm was on parts of Athena that the prosecutor said in opening statements there should not be in a 7-year-old child, and so it is his sperm, and it is on her and in her, as they testified yesterday, horrifically.
Chris, how do you think that'll play with the jury? You not only have the issues of the kidnapping and the murder, but then you have this issue of that.
I mean, it's awful. It's how do you make a kidnapping and murder worse? This is how you commit sexual assault while you're doing it.
Yeah, on a 7-year-old.
Yeah. And then if you want to make it even worse, you hide the body, lie about it, and so on. Yeah. Oh, if anyone who wasn't already completely outraged would be at that point.
Right. And then you have, of course, the testimony from Dr. Ryan yesterday about what he told her.
He confirmed it.
Man. Okay, so Rebecca, we're starting to see a live look back in that courtroom. They're about to bring Tanner in, they're at that door. So I think we're going to is there anything else you want to add before I let you go so that we can get ready for this to start back up?
No, I want to reiterate that, Tanner Horner, Athena Strand's family has been there. Her mom has missed very few hearings. I think she's only missed one hearing the entire time. She is in that courtroom. She's listening to everything. She did not listen to that hour-long tape. That's the only time she wasn't in the courtroom. But
God.
you could tell that everybody is really exhausted by this trial. The jurors, the family. Can you imagine what Athena's family's going through? But we're nearing the end here, Tanya.
I know, and if you and I are exhausted, you're right. I can only imagine what they're going through. So, all right, Rebecca, we'll see you a little bit later this afternoon. Okay, so while we wait for court to kick off, so here's the question I've asked. This is another one that I've asked everybody.
Okay.
Any chance Tanner? Because people keep asking. Any chance Tanner Horner takes the stand?
Bleicher wouldn't let him.
Can you stop him?
No, it's his Fifth Amendment right to take the stand or not. Even if the lawyers advise him, do not do it. It's his decision to do it or not do it. He can follow his lawyer's advice or not at his peril. Typically what might happen, if he insists on testifying and the lawyers are very much against it, sometimes they'll have a short little hearing outside the presence of the jury where the lawyer will say, Mr. Horner, it's our advice that you not testify, but you want to testify anyway. Is that right? And the judge will say, is this really what you want to do? And if he says yes, then there he goes. But the lawyer's done a little CYA right there about if it goes haywire, hey, man, we told you not to testify.
Yeah. I kind of doubt that he will.
Of course, how can he make it any worse?
Well, okay.
Really?
You did say every step of the way that he could make this worse, he made it worse, right?
Right. No.
That would be the final making it worse.
I guess, yeah.
I doubt he takes the stand.
No way.
I doubt it.
That would be the prosecutor would have a field day with it. Tell us what you were thinking when, and I'd play a couple minutes of the tape and say, well, what was going through your mind right then when you were strangling her? Tell the jury what you were thinking about. Oh, you can't remember it? Well, maybe this will jog your memory. Oh my God.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that he would do such a thing. But
unless
crazier things have been known to happen.
If he's got a death wish, he will.
I mean, one thing I don't remember, but there might have been one of the experts that talked about his judgment. There's been a lot of experts over the last 6-7 days. He clearly has bad judgment, right? I mean, there's no doubt about that.
No.
I mean, it's the most stunning level of, but you just, when I look at him, I think to myself, one of the things yesterday, I'm trying to think, when we're looking at him is that somebody just said that he looks like there's just not much behind that look.
Well, and that kind of cuts both ways. As a lawyer, you always tell your client, look, don't show any emotion, don't do this, don't smile, don't not smile, don't scowl, don't make eye contact with the jury because you don't want to intimidate them. Whatever the guy does, someone is going to take it as a strike against him.
Right.
So the best thing to do is just to say, just sit there, don't show any expression. If you absolutely must cry during the testimony, I guess do it but don't force it because they'll know that you're faking it. Otherwise, just sit there and just try not to register anything to anybody.
Right. And people are asking if his grandma is going to take the stand next. The answer is yes. She is supposed to, barring some change. We did get surprised yesterday by the brother not taking the stand. Somebody's asking, is that a stuffed animal next to Horner? No, that's some kind of pitcher of
there's a
water pitcher is what that is. And of course we're, got the live look there and you can see Athena Strand's mom, dad, and also his stepmom, and as well as some other relatives. I'm not completely clear on who they are. It's hard for me to imagine how it must feel to be in that courtroom and be, 10 minutes, 10, I don't even know how many feet, I'm my sense of distance.
Steps away.
You're not very far from him.
Sure.
And so that's just, and for, of course, Maitland and her ex-husband, this is just, but Rebecca's right. We are in the home stretch of this thing, and are you surprised it's gone so long, Chris? I mean, it's a death penalty case. Maybe that's what it is.
Not really, but the judge could have shaved, an hour here or an hour there. But, you've also got to be mindful of the jurors who are just sitting there. A lot of times they're sitting in some back room not knowing what's happening. And, you don't want to have the thing to try and save one day of trial time, exhaust them till 5 o'clock every day. I've seen judges that are just, or 8:30 to 5 every day. And it ends up taking longer to try and be super efficient, in my opinion, in many cases. If you find a natural stopping point and you stop, it lets the trial flow more naturally than stopping somebody in the middle of what their testimony is.
I'm sorry, folks are pointing out that Athena Strand's dad's name is Jacob. I'm sorry, in that moment ago, his name was escaping me. This is what happens when you get old. You start to, I have memory issues. I actually tend to be far better with faces than I am with names. So I can't tell you how many times I go over to the courthouse and people will walk up to me and they clearly know me. And I am standing there going, for the life of me, cannot remember their names. And I feel bad sometimes. But so I apologize for that. I'll do better.
Well, and you said how difficult it must be for him to sit there 3 rows back. I mean, we've all seen the television shows or news clips of family members coming over the bar and attacking.
Right.
They've got 3 bailiffs there, and I would be willing to bet that there are a couple people in the gallery there that are either DA investigators in plainclothes. Also there is kind of a buffer between any kind of ideas anybody might have about taking a swing or worse at Horner.
Somebody said in the chat that your son says hi. So anyway,
all right.
So I don't know if your son is watching this or not. He's off at college, so
he is.
He's not studying for finals or anything, I guess.
Yeah.
So
get back to the books, Junior.
So yeah, we're waiting for this to start back up. You can see that the screen is blurred. Zeke, we still don't have sound from that courtroom, right? No sound at the moment. So yeah, and folks are asking about the blur. I'm making a guess that Grandma's going to be blurred too. Pretty much all of the civilian witnesses have been blurred. I can't think of one civilian witness that has been.
Mom and Dad weren't.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about on the defense side.
Okay.
Yeah, on the defense side. Yeah, but most of the, I think all the civilian witnesses for the defense have been. Somebody's asking if I cover many trials. Yes, I one of the things I do here at Channel 8 is whenever we live stream trials and we have anchoring, I anchor those trials. This is about my 6th or 7th trial. And Chris knows I've been around in this market for a long time. So, all right, there we go.
And we have defense exhibits number 96 through 109, which are photos that we would be offering into evidence.
Any objections? Good to go. So defense 96 through 109 will be admitted.
We also have defense exhibits number 110 through 114.
Any objection to those? Good, John. 110 through 114 are admitted.
Actually, no, I think you had the objection to 114.
Well, I had an objection to 114, so 110 through 113.
Okay.
110 through 113, no objection, and we would offer 114 for record purposes.
Any objection for purposes of the record?
No.
All right, 114 is admitted for purposes of the record.
All right.
We ready?
We ready.
Let's go.
your license and we appreciate
You
it.
want a piece of bubble gum or something? Everyone may be seated. We are ready to proceed, ladies and gentlemen. This witness has been previously sworn to testify truthfully. Can all of the members of the jury see the witness? Okay, all right, very good. Ms. Anderson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I wasn't organized and then I sat down. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Okay. No nervous? A little bit.
Can all of the members of the jury hear the witness? Okay, all right.
And if you'll just keep your voice up for us, that would be great, okay? Okay. Please introduce yourself to the jury. And we're just gonna use first names.
Jacqueline.
And do you also go by Jackie?
Oh, yes,
Do,
Jackie,
is it okay if I call you Jackie?
please.
Okay. Well, Jackie, how are you, or how do you know Tanner Horner?
He is my grandson.
Jackie, are you currently employed?
No,
When you were working, what were you doing?
well, worked at Albertsons and a barber.
Now, I see that you were in a wheelchair. Are you medically disabled?
Yes, multiple sclerosis.
Do you have a disability status for your multiple sclerosis? Are you receiving Social Security
Oh,
benefits?
yes,
Jackie, I want to talk to you a little bit about your family. Do you have any siblings?
yes.
How many did you have?
4 brothers and a sister.
Are they all still alive?
Just one,
Do you have any children?
yes,
Is that Tanner's mom?
yes.
How many grandchildren do you have?
2,
Jackie, I want to talk a little bit about your family and the way you grew up, okay?
Okay.
When you were growing up, was your father, was he verbally abusive to you or any of your siblings?
yes.
How so?
He just always was. He's an alcoholic. And,
What would he do?
well, he just complained constantly. If he showed up for dinner, he would complain.
Would he ever yell at you?
Oh, yeah,
Would he ever call you names?
Yeah.
Would he do this in front of your family?
oh, yeah.
Would he do this in front of other people?
No, sometimes he put on his act when we had family around or friends. He acted like he liked us.
But once those friends left?
Yeah.
This true color show?
Yeah.
Was he ever physically abusive to you?
He was, but not as much me as it was my brothers.
Did you see him being abusive to your brothers?
Yes.
What would he do?
Well, he would just start you know, there's a lot of yelling. I mean, that's been a long time ago. I just know he would get that belt and just keep hitting him, because he'd gone to the beach and
Was he supposed to go to the beach?
No.
Jackie, was there any sexual abuse in your home?
yes,
Were you the victim of abuse as a child?
yes.
And I don't want to go into any details about it, but how old were you when you were being abused?
Very little.
How often would this abuse occur?
Too often?
Is any time too often?
Yes.
How long did this go on?
You know, for years that I could remember, because, you know, I never told my mother. And it's just something you didn't talk about. You didn't talk about the alcoholism in my family.
And if you didn't talk about the alcoholism, were you gonna talk about sexual abuse?
Oh, no.
Were you the only child in that household that was abused?
No, my sister as well.
Did you or your sister ever tell anybody what was going on?
No. Well, we told my mother once when we were about 12 and 13.
And how did that go?
He was mad. Why didn't you tell me earlier?
Did it stop after that?
Oh, yeah, it had been stopped by then, and,
Jackie, did you ever get counseling to help you deal with what happened?
yes, I did.
And, when you went to go see the doctor, were you diagnosed with anything? Do you have any mental health diagnosis?
Well, depression, some PTSD, which that's a thing that I didn't realize it was.
And do you still live with all of that?
Yeah, but I understand it more.
Jackie, I want to talk about your brothers and sisters for a minute, okay?
Okay.
Did any of your brothers and sisters suffer from any mental illness?
Yes,
Were there any suicide attempts amongst your siblings?
yes.
How many of your brothers and sisters were successful in killing themselves?
My sister and my youngest brother.
So that's 2 out of how many children?
6.
You mentioned alcoholism with your father. Did any of your siblings have any alcohol or substance abuse problems?
Yes,
What kind of
everybody had that problem.
Everybody has that problem. What kind of, what did you mean by everybody has that problem?
The alcoholism,
And what about the substance abuse?
yeah, that too.
And Jackie, how far did you go in school?
10th grade,
And why'd you drop out?
I was pregnant,
And how old were you at the time?
15,
Who were you pregnant with?
Melissa.
At any time did you go back and get your GED?
I did.
And why'd you go get your GED?
Because I dropped out so early, and back then people said, well, if you don't get your GED, it'll be hard for me to get a job. And I had to have it to get my barber's license.
When did you get your barber's license?
1976.
How long did you work as a barber?
40 years.
You like it?
Yeah.
Why'd you stop being a barber?
Well, because I need something that had benefits, and Albertsons had that.
And so you went to work for Albertson?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that you dropped out because you had become pregnant. Was this your first pregnancy?
Yes.
Were you surprised when you were pregnant?
Yes.
Did you tell your parents?
I told my mom.
Did you tell your parents? You told your mom?
Yes.
What was her reaction when you told her?
Oh, Jacqueline.
Was she supportive?
She was.
Did you ever consider terminating your pregnancy?
Yes.
Did you ever try to terminate that pregnancy?
Yes.
What happened?
Like what?
Well, tell me, how did you go from having the idea to terminate the pregnancy to trying to terminate the pregnancy?
Well, my mother knew a doctor and went to her house, and she said she was doing an abortion on me, which I didn't realize anything except that I knew I wouldn't be pregnant anymore.
Well, whose idea was it to terminate the pregnancy?
Well, it was mine and my mother's.
And your mother is the one that took you to the doctor?
Yes.
So after your mother took you to the doctor to try to terminate the pregnancy, I guess the question I have is, was the abortion successful?
No.
How old, well, were you able to carry that child to term?
Yes.
And how old were you when your daughter was born?
I turned 16 the day after I had her.
Did you have a difficult birth?
No,
Any complications?
no.
Were you worried because of the failed abortion attempt?
Yeah, I was real worried.
But instead you had a healthy baby girl?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And actually, Jackie, I'm going to hand you what has already been admitted as Defense Exhibits 96 through 109. Okay, so I'm just gonna let you hold on to those because I'm gonna put them up on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Defense Exhibit number 96. Who is that? Is that you and your daughter?
Yep.
Jackie, where was your daughter's father throughout all of this?
Well, we were together, except not living together, but with, he was at his parents' house, and I was with my mom's house.
So, did you two ever get married?
Yes.
And how long were you married?
About 3 years.
How old was your daughter when you divorced?
About 2.5 or 3.
Were you and her father married before or after you gave birth?
Before.
So you found out you were married. We had the attempted termination, and then you got married and then gave birth?
Yes, well,
And was this all before the age of 16?
yes.
Did your daughter's father ever pay child support for her after y'all separated and divorced?
No.
How did you support your daughter?
I worked normally 2 jobs.
And what kind of jobs did you have at that time?
I'd be a waitress, and then I was a shampoo girl for like 4 years before I decided to go to Barber College.
Jackie, I want to move on a little bit, and I want to talk about your second husband. Now, did the two of you live together before you married?
Yes.
At the time you moved in together, did you have any concerns about your boyfriend and your daughter?
No, not at the time.
So when y'all moved in together, you thought everything was A-okay?
Yeah, newly in love.
Before he moved in, did your daughter ever tell you that your boyfriend had sexually abused her?
Yes, she did.
And this was before you were married? And even though your daughter had told you about this incident, did you marry him anyway?
Yes, I did.
After he had moved in and y'all had gotten married, do you ever remember an occasion where your daughter had put a sign on her door?
Yes.
Do you remember what that sign said?
Something like, it was a big poster that she had on her bedroom door that said, who's ever coming in at my room at night, please stop.
At the time, did you know what that meant?
No, I mean, I automatically thought, oh, it must be a stepbrother if he had the bedroom next door to the girls. And,
Do you know what it means now?
oh yeah,
Or what does it mean, or what did that sign mean?
that her stepdad was coming in there at night. She had told the school.
Well, that was my next question. Did she ever tell anybody about that?
Yes. But she tried to she told me the first time it ever happened, and I didn't believe her. And how could I not believe a 4-year-old? That's all on me, and I live with that still. 4-year-olds don't lie.
Hi, Jackie. Did CPS or law enforcement ever get involved after
Yes.
she had told what had happened? And what happened after CPS and law enforcement got involved?
First they had opened a case and talked to each one of us, and
Was anyone ever arrested?
no,
Was anyone ever prosecuted?
No.
Did you and your second husband eventually divorced?
Yes.
Now, Jackie, I want to flash forward some more, and I want to jump to a time when Melissa, or your daughter, was married or dating Tanner's father. Did you ever meet Tanner's father?
Yes.
Was he older than Melissa?
Yes.
And how much older was he than your daughter?
Well, I was never real sure of his age, but, I think he was at least 10 years older.
What was their relationship like?
Toxic.
Why do you say the
Oh, they
relationship?
just fought all the time.
They fought all the time? Did you ever see them fighting?
No, I mean, no, I can't say that. Most of them just tell me they had a big fight.
Do you know if he was physically abusive to her?
Yes.
Did you ever see her with bruises?
No, can't say I saw any bruises. But he was abusive to her.
While Melissa and Terry were married, did she become pregnant with Tanner?
Yes.
Was this her first pregnancy?
Yes.
The one with Tanner was her first pregnancy?
Yes.
Did she seem happy about becoming a mother?
Yes. She was very excited.
Or what do you mean by very excited?
Oh, she's just happy. She's happy to have a baby.
At the time she became pregnant with Tanner, was she working?
Yes.
And after she gave birth, did she go back to her job?
Yes.
When she had gone back to working, how old was Tanner? If you can remember.
Year old,
A year old?
maybe. I'm not sure.
When Melissa was working, who kept Tanner?
I did a lot.
Where was his father at this time?
I don't know.
When Tanner was a little boy, how did you feel about taking on so much responsibility with him?
I was okay with it. I loved him. He's my first grandkid, and I figured I could be better with him than I did being a mother the first time, because I was so young that I had a little experience by the time he came.
I'm going to show you Defense Exhibit number 97. Who is this?
It's Tanner. And the rocking chair my mother made for him.
Your mother made that for him?
Mm-hmm. But she painted it all.
What was painted on that?
Just something boyish. I don't remember.
I'm going to show you Defense Exhibit number 98. Who is that?
It's me and Tanner.
About how old is he here?
It looks like he's about two.
I see that big smile on your face. Are you happy to keep him?
Yeah.
He bring you lots of joy?
He did. He did.
And defense exhibit number 99. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on in this picture?
Oh, we were just in the front yard, walking around, and he always would pick those up and blow on it. So it, until it was empty.
Jackie, when Melissa had gone back to work, well, let me back up. At the time that, before Melissa became pregnant with Tanner, do you know if she was using drugs?
Before she went back to work?
No, before she was pregnant.
I can't say, nothing that I saw.
Did you ever see her use drugs?
No.
Did you ever see her use drugs after the birth of Tanner?
No.
Have you ever seen your daughter under the influence of drugs?
Yes.
Tell me about that. What was her behavior like when she was using drugs?
Maybe red eyes.
And how did she behave?
Well, she was happy, and then, she was at work and would come home and see Tanner. I mean, she was happy as can be.
Then what makes you think that she was under the influence of drugs at the time?
Well, because she came home from work.
Now, Jackie, has your daughter ever overdosed from drugs?
Not that I've seen.
Has she ever required medical attention for her drug use?
Yeah, she's been to rehabs.
So I'm going to show you defense exhibit number 100. Do you remember this?
Yep. I was at a rehab.
How often did Melissa have to go to rehabs?
She's been several times. And always wanted to go because she knew she needed it. She just really struggled.
You said that she'd gone several times. When you say several times, is that more than 4 times?
I don't recall, but that sounds good.
And this photo, defense exhibit number 100, was that taken in one of the rehab facilities?
I'm sorry, what?
Defense exhibit number 100, was that taken in one of the rehab
Yes.
facilities?
Yes.
How many times did you have to visit with her in a rehab facility?
Several times.
And you said she had struggles with the drugs. What kind of struggles did she have?
I don't know, just doing them. It was not a good thing, and she knew it wasn't, but she had a hard time kicking the habit. And
That was she using heroin at the time?
yes,
Did you recall an incident where she had taken heroin and fell asleep on the toilet?
I think I've heard that.
But do you remember when Tanner had to come get you and bring you into the bathroom and show you his mother who had passed out on the toilet?
You know, I don't remember that. I heard about it after, but I don't remember when it happened.
And if you're, is that something that you're, well, one moment. Did your daughter ever have mood swings?
Yes.
Did she ever have act paranoid?
Yes.
When did you first started noticing, the paranoia and the mood swings?
Probably when she was a lot younger than when she first started using, and she just always, I think it's because she's bipolar, and I think it started happening early in her age.
And so your daughter's bipolar?
Yes.
Do you know if she sought any sort of medical treatment for her mental health?
Yes, she did.
How'd that work for her?
Well, I mean, they gave her information, and she gave her the information, and she would tell me what they, like, what else she was diagnosed with that, and, she needed to go to counseling and probably get on medicine, in which she had tried, and she didn't like the feel of it.
And Jackie, do you love your daughter?
Yes, I do.
Are these questions hard for you to answer?
Yes.
I want to talk to you about your daughter's, well, let me back up. Did she ever divorce Tanner's father?
No, they never got a divorce.
But did they separate at some point?
Yes.
And did she become involved with another man?
Yes.
Did she have a child with that man?
Yes.
All right, so I want to talk to you about your other grandson. How did Tanner react when he found out that he was going to be a big brother?
Oh, he was very excited. Very excited.
What made you think he was excited?
Well, he was just always, he just couldn't wait till the baby was born, and the day she went into labor, they were at the hospital, and we stopped by McDonald's to get something to eat, which he liked going there, and we sat there and ate, and then he threw up. He was so excited. I mean, he just all over the place. He was so excited he threw up. And I just spent money on that meal.
How old was Tanner when he found out he was going to be a big brother?
Well, he was either 9 or 10. He was 10 when he was born, so.
I'm going to show you what is defense exhibit number 101. Is that Tanner and his little brother?
Yeah.
What do you think about when you see that photo?
It shows the innocence, how little they were, and how precious that picture is.
Does it make you happy to see that photo?
It does.
Now, Defense Exhibit number 102. Is this a picture of your daughter and her two sons?
Yes.
Approximately how old is Tanner at the time?
Probably 11.
Is that his little brother in the high chair? Now, I want to fast forward again. I want to talk about you again. And I want to talk about your marriage to Bill. Your husband, is that your third husband?
Yes.
Okay. Your third husband, Bill, was he in the military?
Yes.
Do you remember what branch?
Army.
Do you know if he had ever been deployed?
Yes.
Where was he deployed?
Well, he went several places, but he was in Vietnam.
Do you know what he did for the Army in Vietnam?
Well, several things he did, but the longest thing he did was he was a tunnel rat.
What's a tunnel rat?
Well, they go underneath in a tunnel and scope out the place, you know. I guess set traps.
Were they
He
looking
didn't
for
always
booty?
talk about it, but, yeah, it's something that most people wouldn't want to do. Go into the unknown.
Was he looking for booby traps?
Yeah.
Was that a dangerous assignment?
I think so.
When he retired from the military, did he receive any disability benefits from the VA?
Yes.
Would you describe Bill as a paranoid person?
Yes.
What would he do that would make you think he was paranoid?
Well, he was always, you know, always trying to find something wrong.
Or what do you mean trying to find something wrong?
You know, just in daily life, he would just nitpick things and he was angry.
He was angry? Now, would he ever sneak around the house or sneak up on people?
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's done that. People like to sneak up on me because I scare easy.
You had said and described Bill as an angry person. Did he have a bad temper?
Yes.
Well, why do you say he had a bad temper?
Well, he displayed it all the time. He just didn't have much patience, and he would just he was always mad about something, and if it didn't go his way, it was nobody's way, and he'd just get mad.
What would he do when he got angry?
Oh, wondered that too. Many times.
And when he got angry, what would he do? I mean, would he yell? Would he throw things? What?
Well, yeah, he would yell. That was always a big one. Or not talk to me for weeks.
When Tanner was young, did he and his mom move around a lot?
Yes. Well, it depends what a lot is.
Well, in your opinion, was it a lot?
Well, no, I'm gonna say not so much. They did live in several places, but when we had, Melissa and I had discussed that we were gonna, because where she was at that time in her life, she thought would be a good idea that he come stay with us, my husband and I. Where she knows he would be safe and
How old was he, when he came to, how old was Hannah when he came to live with you?
I'm gonna say probably about 3 or 4.
Do you think that Melissa letting Tanner come to stay with you was her way of trying to give him a better life?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's what she said, Mom, because I'm not doing the right thing and I know it. She just wanted to, she knew he'd be safe with us.
She's trying to look out for him,
Oh, yeah,
that she knew that,
he was safe and she always worried, she always wanted him to be okay. But he didn't have that many babysitters, you know, we were babysitters. And he just didn't trust very many people.
Jackie, what kind of things did you do for Tanner when he came to live with you?
We go to parks, we went to movies, a lot of Disney movies. We, you know, had to plan those movies, or anything time we went somewhere, we had to plan it, because he couldn't handle spur of the moment stuff. So I had to make sure he knew like days in advance that what we're gonna go do. And
Oh, go ahead.
And then, we go to the zoo.
When you said that he didn't like spur of the moment, what do you mean by that?
It was too quick of a decision. I mean, I'd have to plant the seed and he'd have to think on it, I guess. That's what ended up working better, especially, you know, that all started with doctor's appointments. That he got to where he handled that and he knew that I would remind him every day of something that we had planned.
Did it work better for him to know in advance?
Yes,
Did it work better for you to know
Yeah.
in advance?
yeah, he would, yeah.
When you and Tanner would go to these Disney movies and plan these outings, do you remember about how old he was when all of that started?
Will you repeat that, please?
When Tanner moved in, about how old was he?
I'm gonna say probably about 6, 7.
Did you enroll him in school?
Yes. I first enrolled him in daycare. So, because I worked.
How old was he when you, if you recall, when you enrolled him in daycare? Was it before he started elementary school?
Yes.
While he was at daycare, did you ever watch him with the other kids?
Yeah.
Did you ever see him, behave in a way that made you think that he was a little different?
Happens quite often, but I walked in once pick him up from school. I got off work and he was playing with some kind of little game they had at the daycare. And this little kid, you know, he was playing by himself, and that's how he liked playing by himself. And this little kid said, "Here, let me help," or something to that extent, wanted to play too. And Tanner said, "No, you can't, and then he just turned away and not respond anymore. He just, no. And whoever that was, that little kid just said that, "You're weird," or there was always a comment about that he was weird, awkward, different.
And these are things that you've heard these kids
Oh,
say?
yeah. Yeah.
That time that you saw of him pushing the other child away or turning his back on the other child, was that the only time you saw that kind of behavior?
Oh, no, I've seen it many times. I've seen that, he was in Boy Scouts. And I go to the meetings with him. And they have them, and there are several boys that kind of were making fun of him, and I'm not sure, I don't remember what it was all about, but they started just giving him a hard time on, yeah, I don't remember exactly, but they were making fun of him.
No,
And-
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Defense Exhibit 106 is, what is that?
He's getting some kind of a award, for Cub Scouts.
That was taken when he was,
Yeah.
and, when you would watch Tanner at daycare, could you notice a difference between his behavior and the other children's behavior?
Yes.
Did you see that same behavior when Tanner was at home?
Yes.
At some point, did you ever take Tanner, or was it suggested that Tanner go be tested?
Yes.
Did Melissa take him to get tested?
Yes, she did. She was all on top of that because we knew there was just someone connecting.
What was Tanner's diagnosis when you went to go get him tested? What was the diagnosis?
Well, he had ADHD and Asperger's syndrome from the Child Study Center.
How did you feel when you found out that he had a diagnosis?
Relieved that we know it was something instead of what could it be.
Was Melissa relieved as well?
Yes.
How did Bill respond to the diagnosis of Asperger's?
He didn't say a whole lot. He just, through the years, we'd say, well, part of his Asperger's, and, people just think that's an excuse for his behavior, and he'd say, there ain't nothing wrong with that boy. Even a lot of times it was very obvious there was something wrong.
Did you or Melissa treat Tanner any differently because of his diagnosis?
maybe a little more protective. Because we just felt sorry for him. They didn't have any friends, and nobody wanted to have anything to do with him.
When you say that you were protective of him, how were you protective of him?
Him getting bullied, as he didn't always show that it bothered him. And it bothered him,
Were you there to support him?
yes.
Because of his Asperger's diagnosis, were you able to get any social security benefits?
Yes,
How old was he, if you recall, when he first started to get benefits?
gosh, I really don't remember. I want to say maybe 14.
Now, Jackie, I want to talk about Tanner's time in school, okay? I want to show you what has been offered as Defendant's Exhibit 103. Do you recall that photo?
Yeah,
And about how old was Tanner there?
he looks about 3, or maybe 4.
What about Defense Exhibit 104? Remember about what grade he was in there?
Could that have been the 4th grade?
Now, Jackie, when Tanner was in school, did he receive any special education classes?
Yes.
Do you know why he was in special education?
For his Asperger's, and it's kind of like a guideline on, because, he would always speak out, and to get his behavior under control. That would help, but they would just kind of teach him, well, right, wrong, numbers, because he never did real good in school. And I never understood why he didn't, because he's very smart. But it was just, they were like a support group, and they always had his back on the difficulty of being in school and all the bullies he would face.
When you say they, are you talking about his teachers and his providers? Did you and Melissa attend any of his, what they call the ARD meetings, of the special education meetings? What were those like?
They would just give us information on how he's doing, and what they're working on, how he progressed or he didn't in certain areas.
Based on these ARD meetings, did Tanner have any special kind of services?
Well, yeah, they would send trying to think what they call it. A special teacher out, and they go out to dinner or go to the store, and how to interacting with people, manners.
Did those meetings with that person seem to help Tanner?
It did, until, it was time that she just didn't come anymore, and we needed to pick up the slack, and we probably did for a little while.
Were you able to continue that?
Well, we did a little bit, but some of it was stuff that, like this manners, we were always big on manners. So no, we didn't follow through all the way.
How did Tanner react when he stopped having these meetings with his teacher?
Well, I think he kind of missed it because he looked forward to having that time of just something different between, besides the people at home, he looked forward to it.
Now, Jackie, you talked before about Tanner being bullied in school and having to deal with other bullies. Is Tanner a friendly person?
Oh, yeah.
Is he outgoing?
Yeah, sometimes he's not, but most, yeah,
Do he like to talk a lot?
yes,
Does he still like to talk a lot?
yes.
When he was in school, did you ever see him trying to make friends with the other students?
Oh, yeah.
Was he able to?
Well, there might have been a few, but, once they start talking to him, they would kind of, and kind of back off.
I think the words you used before were weirdo and awkward.
Yeah, because, it was awkward. It was awkward. It's awkward for an adult to feel awkward talking to a kid.
How did Tanner take it when these other kids would start calling him names?
He just said, "Oh, it's okay, Minnie. I'm used to it."
He called you Mimi?
Yeah.
And how did you feel when he said those things to you?
I hurt for him. I mean, painful.
Was this the only time that seeing those kids call him names and hearing the names that he was called, was that the only time that you saw Tanner being bullied?
Not,
Do you recall an incident at the wrestling match?
oh yeah.
Tell us about that. What happened?
The wrestling match was over, and Tanner was walking in front of me, going to get a drink, and some guy that had been wrestling too walked up next to him and just kind of, "Hey, you punk, you weirdo," or "What are you doing? You're not going to do," just all kinds of put downs to him. And he didn't know who I was, but I said, "Why are you talking to him like that?" Because he realized there was somebody with him. But that just came out of nowhere. He just ran up there and started bad-mouthing me. And then again, he tries to make me feel okay about what happened.
So even though Tanner is the one that is being bullied, he's trying to comfort you?
Yeah, I mean,
Jackie, in spite of all of the issues that Tanner had in high school and in elementary school and in middle school, was he able to graduate from high school?
Yes, he was. And he was so proud. I was so proud for him.
Was he the first person in your family to actually graduate from high school?
Yes, he was. That was a big accomplishment.
I'm gonna show you what is, I believe, Defense Exhibit 107. Is that a copy of his high school announcement?
Yes,
So it was, other than the fact that he was the first person to graduate, was the fact that he graduated a big deal for your family?
yes.
And why was it a big deal
Well,
for
I
you?
mean, because he graduated, that wasn't a real popular thing in my family or his dad's side of the family. I don't think anybody else had graduated. And he just wanted to, make his parents proud.
Was that important to him?
Well, yeah. Because he wanted to be the only one to do that.
Do you have somebody on there?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes. Huh?
All right, Chris, we've been listening to Tanner Horner's grandma. Well,
Yeah, we have. And as unless she's got a lot more to add, she really didn't bring a lot to the table
all right,
here.
Chris, we've been listening.
So, I don't know what else she's going to say, but there was a lot of groundwork, really, for a lot of nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
And I get it. He had a bad childhood. I hear you. I think we've heard plenty of that, and I think everyone would stipulate to that. Even the prosecution would admit that guy had a pretty awful childhood. But what new are we hearing here that's like groundbreaking? That's going to really affect the jurors and pull on their hearts in the way it ought to. I'm not feeling it.
so why are we doing this?
I don't know. Again, maybe she's not done. Maybe she's got something else to add. But
I mean, but if your jury, Rebecca's texting us saying basically the jury looks bored. If you've lost them, how are you going to get them to listen to anything grandma says if you're actually going somewhere with this?
I don't know. I don't know what else she's got in store. It could be a function of a couple different things. Maybe because of her health issues, they had to call her out of order, and it didn't have the kind of effect that the defense was looking for. Maybe it was supposed to lay some groundwork for mother, and then it would make a little more cohesive sense. Maybe Tanner just really had his heart set in hearing from grandma, and so it's they called her because of him, or maybe grandmother really thought that she wanted to make a plea for the life of her grandson, so they call her for that.
Except for we haven't gotten to the plea yet.
I don't know. I mean, she fills in some background from a couple of generations ago, but that doesn't help the jury, I don't think, decide the issues they need to decide. It's just filler.
Okay. Rebecca, we got Rebecca on video call. Rebecca, Chris and I are struggling to understand the point of this testimony and where we are headed with it.
I think everyone is wondering that, Tanya. And I tell you what, this defense better move this testimony along because they are losing this jury. There are jurors that are literally trying to stay awake in there. They were shifting in their chairs. Some are holding their heads. This jury was not at all interested in anything really that she had to say. I think there was one juror that was taking notes, but it almost looks like they are like zoned out. And I've been watching this jury for a month now, and most of the time they're pretty engaged. They look bored.
What do you say to that, Chris?
I mean, unfortunately that happens, especially in a trial this long. You got to move on. When the jury loses interest, then you're just talking to yourself. So, it's unless there's something really earth-shattering coming, this has been, it hasn't necessarily hurt other than just have everybody wonder why the heck are we listening to this? But I really don't think it's helped.
No, I don't think so either. Rebecca, do we have any sense of how much longer this testimony is going to go on?
I mean, we were expecting this is going to go on all afternoon. And I will tell you something else. I noticed that when she was speaking, usually Tanner Horner's not doing a whole lot. He was writing notes to his attorney, and they were kind of looking at some of the notes, and he was sort of looking down. But I also was paying attention to Athena's family when they put Tanner Horner's graduation picture up there, and Tanner Horner smiling with his brother. And something that Athena will never get to do. She'll never get to graduate. She'll never get those opportunities because he kills her. And this family is sitting here watching, listening to what a great kid his grandma thought he was, but they'll never get that opportunity to see Athena in a graduation gown. And I don't know if the defense is just a little tone deaf to this jury and to this courtroom. And I get that they're trying to humanize him, but it is also not lost on the jury that while they're showing these pictures of him, Athena will never get that opportunity. And her family is, I think, also struggling with this testimony.
Right. I understand that. And I want to also say out loud, Zeke, that Chris cannot hear Rebecca. So that is obviously created. What Rebecca was talking about was that, they're flashing these photos up of Tanner Horner, as a young kid and graduating, all the stuff. And that it's just how, the sense of outrage from Athena Strand's family.
Sure.
It's seeing that because obviously Athena Strand is never going to graduate from high school or get married or anything.
Yeah. It's definitely backfiring, or it has the tendency or the possibility to backfire. But like we were talking during the testimony, is the defense is almost trying to say that this kid. Little Tanner Horner never had a chance to have a regular life. And what'd you say?
Well, Athena Strand's never going to have a chance.
Exactly. So if the jurors are thinking along the same lines we're thinking, this ain't helping.
Rebecca, Zeke. Okay, go ahead, Zeke. Fix his mic. Fix his IFB. So what has been Tanner Horner's reaction to his grandma's testimony? Have we seen any reaction from him?
No, not really. He just is kind of stoic, like he's been through most of this trial. But he was, like I said, writing a few notes, or he was writing something with his lawyer, and he was taking notes. I think when she was really talking about the grandfather, that's when I noticed that he was writing some notes when he was talking about Bill, the grandfather, and his temper, and Bill being out of control or mean. And I thought it was really interesting when she said, "Oh, the grandfather kept saying there's nothing wrong with that boy." I thought that was really interesting. That she said that at least the grandfather thought there was nothing wrong with Tanner Horner, that he was just being a bad kid.
Well, I had to. Chris and I both looked at each other when the prosecutor asked if Tanner was a friendly person, and the grandma says, "Oh yeah." I'm just like, really? These are just, to me, odd questions. I mean, do you understand what in the world are we doing here?
I don't know. And again, well, when you have maybe an older witness like this, maybe the witness is not staying on track the way maybe that the defense lawyer was planning it to go. She might be going off script, or at least off the plan. And then, the lawyer, I mean, I've had that happen many a time. You've got to try and get the witness back on track to talk about the things that, you want to talk about that might be helpful to the jury. But, grandma wants to tell, her stories. So, you kind of lose control of the witness that way. And the prosecutor's just letting it happen. I mean, he's happy to watch this.
Yeah, because it's kind of a train wreck. Go ahead, Rebecca. You're about to say something?
Yeah, one of the things that I did notice is that grandma does not come story that the defense has made a big issue of, and that is Tanner saw his mom over the toilet, supposedly overdosing, but and that I guess he went to go get his grandma, and that, we've heard that story I think twice in this trial, but grandma's like, "Oh yeah, I don't remember that." I mean, that was also, I think, did not go well for the defense.
Yeah.
Well, and then this whole wrestling story.
I mean, that was a dud.
It's just like, what?
Yeah.
He's comforting me? I'm
okay. But, again, maybe grandma told it different, last week, and maybe she's nervous as a witness, and this is how it came out. I don't know. I hate to second guess other lawyers, but I don't think it's a stretch to say that this witness has not had the impact that perhaps she was hoped to have had.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so we're starting to see movement in that courtroom, Rebecca. So I think Tanner Horner's about to come back out. So we'll let you kind of. Oh, there's some folks coming back in. So we'll let you get back to it, and then we'll wait for them to get started back up. Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, yeah, there he comes. He's coming out. So I guess.
Maybe it was a little short break.
I think, well, because she's got MS, so I think they're taking more regular breaks. But how long do you leave her on the stand?
I mean, not much longer, unless she's going to drop some big bombshell soon. You want to get her off, and I don't think the prosecutor is going to spend much time other than, hey, thank you for your time, Grandma, and no questions. That's all I'd do. She hasn't moved the needle much at all.
Not even a little, I don't think.
Yeah, so just get her out of there.
I mean, and I was struggling to stay focused during her testimony.
Well, I wasn't going to mention
you weren't going to tell folks about that. I was really struggling. It's like it's the afternoon, and you're just mid-afternoon on what feels like the 100th day of this trial, and you're going, where in the world are we headed, folks?
Well, and the jury's got to be thinking the same thing, because they know even less about what's happening and what days are, all they know is they don't have court tomorrow for some reason, but they do have court next week. So, they got to be thinking, how long is this thing going to last?
Well, so basically what you're saying is if the jury's struggling to stay awake, so am I. You were doing better than me though. So I don't know. Oh,
Maybe I've had a little more caffeine.
yeah. I am definitely chugging back the caffeine today to stay focused because. Okay, so we see folks standing up. That means the jury's coming back in, and then presumably we will see them. But like we haven't even gotten to the crime. Like we haven't even gotten to her phone call with her son. I mean, not her son, her grandson. She has there's a call. Like we're still like in his childhood.
I mean, if you're the defense, though, do you want to bring that up? You want to remind everybody about that?
Not really.
I don't either. Let's tell a couple.
I mean,
sad stories about his childhood, and get out of there.
I mean, do you get her to plea for his life?
I mean, I guess that's what they're working toward.
I mean, even his own mother didn't plead for his life. I mean, it's just.
Of course, what's she gonna say?
Of course, yeah.
I mean, do you even have to
belabor
get her to plead
it?
for? Yeah, I mean, she's here. She's trying to help. I mean, that's worth something, I guess. But I don't know if she's got some relevant information. She's keeping it secret.
I don't know. I struggle with where we're headed on this one.
Yeah. And again, maybe she told, maybe they'd hoped or that her testimony was going to be a little bit more impactful than it is. People get nervous, people forget. I don't know.
I don't know, but I still think it. Do you think it speaks to that they just didn't have much to work with?
The defense had very, very little to work with, and you ask yourself if this is one of the few big character witnesses, is if this is the best you can do, there's not a lot of people that were going to stand up for this man.
No, and I mean, and not a one of the quote unquote character witnesses has wanted their face shown.
Yeah.
Not on a live stream.
This is an impossible case for the defense. It really is.
Yeah. Okay. So people are sitting down. That generally means that we're about to get underway here again. Picking up here with Grandma. Of course, we're waiting to see what else they could possibly ask her that could. There we go.
I see that big smile on your face, Jackie. Why are you smiling?
Well, that's his diploma that they handed him walking across that stage.
No. Jackie, I want to talk about Tanner's musical abilities. Tell us about that. Was Tanner a musical guy?
Yes, drummer.
Where did he get his first set of drums?
Me and his papa bought it for his 16th birthday.
When you say Papa, who are you talking about?
Oh, Bill.
His grandfather?
Yes.
Well, why y'all give him the drums?
Because he always went around all the time. And thought he could put that to use. And he did.
Was he a good drummer?
Yeah, he was.
Did he take lessons?
No.
Did he play any other kind of instruments?
He played the bass. Probably a couple other things, but I don't know what it is.
Now, Jackie, you mentioned that you and Bill got him the drum set. I want to talk a little bit about Bill and Tanner's relationship. Was your husband the authority figure in the house?
Yes.
How did he show his authority?
Like being demanding, overbearing a lot of times. And he wants to like get a point across that wasn't. See. He got angry a lot. And so sometimes that's how he just kind of bully his way into, this is what you do. For instance, go out and mow the yard, Karen. And he'd never showed him how to mow the yard, and he'd get out there and just do it the other way. And then, you know, why didn't you use your head? You know, I have to show you everything. It just little things that he thought would have been easy for him. And then when things weren't going exactly how he thought it should be, you know, it was always a problem.
Were there some things that it took Tanner a little while longer to catch on to?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of things?
Pardon me?
What kind of things?
I'm not sure, I cannot remember everything, and right now I can't, except the one thing I remember is, Bill had gotten really mad at Tanner. And he went back there to his room and just, you know, started complaining to him. And he came back up and he said, I you know, I've had it with him. I'm gonna get that stick that I told you about, and I'm gonna take him down. And he actually said, I didn't actually believe him at first.
Okay, now Jackie, I'm gonna stop you right there for a minute because we had a lot of he's and hims. And I wanna make sure that the jury understands who we're talking about, okay? You said that he went back to his room. Who went back to whose room?
Bill went back to Tanner's room.
Had they had an argument before?
Yes, but I had not heard about it. Or, if I did, it'd been days or weeks.
And you mentioned something about a stick. Tell us about the stick.
It's kind of like a dowel rod, kind of like, it was about this big, long, about this big around.
Is that the stick that you're referring to on Defense Exhibit number 109?
Yes.
What did Bill do with that stick?
He told Tanner, stand still. Just stand still. And Tanner's just standing there, yeah. After I'd already told him, I said, Tanner, you need to leave because he's mad. He said, I said, you need to leave because he's mad. And he said, Papa wouldn't hurt me. Well, so he stood there and he acted like he's playing baseball and got that big stick and just swung it at him and hit him across his chest and stomach area. I mean, and it just happened so quick and he just fell down like, you know, he's a big guy. I'm surprised that he went down like that.
So
Ugh.
Bill hit, I mean, he said that he took it like a baseball.
Oh, yeah.
And he swung and hit Tanner with that stick that's a,
Yeah.
they're supposed to do it 109.
Yes.
When you say that Tanner went down, what do you mean he went
I
down?
mean, he just went down like a rag doll.
Were you afraid?
Oh, yeah, and that
Oh, go ahead.
was terrible. I mean, it was like a movie. It was terrible.
Was that something that you would have ever expected from him?
No. No. And neither would he. It shocked Tanner. He couldn't believe it.
What did Tanner do after Bill had hit him with that stick?
He was crying, went back to his room, and came back about 15 or 20 minutes later, bleeding everywhere. He cut his arm, and it was just, blood was just pouring out. And Bill saw it, he said, well, I guess you ought to take him to the hospital. And I did.
Did Bill seem concerned at all?
No.
What happened when you took him to the hospital?
Well, he went in and they looked at it and got, I don't remember how many stitches, but at least 10. And
Jackie, in spite of the bullying by Bill, and in spite of the hit, did Tanner still love his papa?
yeah, he did, but I think that made him think twice about him, you know?
And when Bill passed away, how did that affect Tanner?
He was very sad.
Jackie, I want to talk to you about your grandchild.
My great-grand?
I'm sorry, your great-grand, that's right. How old, do you know the mother of
Yes.
your great-grandchild? And again, we're not gonna go into names, and we aren't going to talk about the name of your great-grandchild either. But were Tanner and the mother together when the child was born? Were they still dating?
Yes.
How did Tanner react when he found out that he was going to be a father?
Oh, he was real excited.
Did
Very
he
excited.
seem to enjoy being a dad?
Yes.
What kinds of things would Tanner do with his son?
I mean, just play with him and hold him and feed him, change the diaper. You know, I went around a whole lot right then. But he took good care of him.
Did he like to show his son off to other people?
Oh, yeah. Bring a grin to his face.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Jackie, I'm gonna show you what has been already admitted in evidence as exhibits number 106 to 108. Would you take a look at that? And I see you smiling again. Why are you smiling?
Pictures.
That's it. What is it? Those are the only three.
Oh, I'm gonna make one out of it.
What is it about these pictures that is making you smile?
Well, because Tanner was so happy and that little baby, so cute.
What does it make you feel like when you see these pictures?
Well, of course it makes me feel proud. It's, I mean, it's sad that, you know, will never be a daddy that he wanted to be. But he got a little guy to be proud of.
May I publish to the jury?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Jackie, you know why we're here, don't you?
Yes, I do.
You know that your grandson has pled guilty to kidnapping and killing Athena.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about the time leading up to that horrible day, okay? In the weeks leading up to this incident, based on your observations of Tanner, did he appear to be under a lot of stress at that time?
Oh, yeah.
Why did he say that?
Well, they've been staying with the other grandmother, and they came over after they had some kind of a disagreement, and he was just he had just gotten another job, and nervous about that, nervous about being inside, being at the house. And Cassie being, she just always wanted to do something. He'd be at work all day and then she would be there all day and then she'd want to, go out and do things and eat and, spend money or whatever. And it was getting to him because he wasn't getting good sleep because he'd end up staying up too late. And he was just stressed out. And I just want to add one thing is he had told me that, I don't remember what day it was, but he said, I made an appointment with the doctor to get back on that medicine. I was so proud that he said that. And I thought, wow, he's really maturing. Because he figured that out by himself. So that, just all, and you could just tell he was stressed because he was so snappy and kind of shaky.
We've been talking a lot about the hard time that Tanner's had in his life. And what I want to do is I want to talk about some of the good things. Now, the defense's exhibits with pictures of Tanner and his son. Would you consider that some of the good things in his life?
Yes.
Do you think that you and Tanner have a close relationship?
Yes.
Before this all happened, would y'all do a lot of things together?
Well, probably not as much since he, had a baby and all that and involved. But he had not been living at the house for a while. And, we've always had that closeness.
Did you and Tanner, while he was growing up, did y'all attend church together?
Yes.
How long did y'all attend church together?
How long? I started going in 2002. My mother had just passed away, and he had said, Mimi, I want to start going to church. And I had been wanting to get back to church. And we visited a few churches, and then we ended up finding Outreach of Love or Legacy Church. And we went there and we loved it, and we stayed for 20 years.
At some point, did Tanner step away from the church?
Yes. After he started with the drums and talking about getting a band and working and having a car, just
Since his arrest, has he gone back to the Bible? He gone back to church?
yes. Yeah, I bought him a Bible that I looked online. Yeah. The Old Testament and the new one, all in one book.
Yeah, Richard.
Yes, ma'am.
Jackie, I'm going to show you what has been admitted into evidence, defense exhibits 110, 111, 112, and 113. Is that the Bible you bought, Tanner?
Yep. That's a thick one.
Oh, that's
taking notes.
How does it make you feel to see that he's been taking notes in his Bible?
I think it's good. It's very good.
That publisher on?
Yes.
Maybe I'm almost done. What I wanted to ask you is, what is your happiest memory of your grandson?
Well, there's probably several that, this was in the 4th grade. And, they had a talent show. And he sang "Who Let the Dogs Out." He did this whole thing, he did the whole dance and everything. And kind of surprised me that he did that all on his own, but he did.
And Defense Exhibit number 113 is that a picture of that talent show?
Yeah.
Jackie, how has all of this affected and impacted you and your family?
Mm. Horrific. I mean, we're just devastated. And I'm so sorry for Athena's parents. More than you'll ever know. We think about you every day, and I pray for you every day. I feel like there's nothing I can say to make anything better, and I'm sure there's not. I just want you to know that I've not forgotten you or your daughter. Every day we think about her. And you guys.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
Cross-examination.
Yeah, briefly, Your Honor. This stick incident that we talked about with the picture of the stick on there,
Yes.
how old was Tanner when that happened?
Gosh. 25 maybe?
So he was, and I didn't get that before, he wasn't like a little kid or something, was he?
No.
He was a grown man when that happened,
Yes.
in his 20s. All right. Now, make sure. It sounds like, ma'am, I just, it sounds like throughout your entire life, you have worked hard despite your struggles. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
It seems like to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you did the best of what you could with what you had. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And I bet you today, if that wheelchair didn't have you bound up there, you'd still be working today, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
No matter what got you down, or no matter what happened, you were still gonna do the best you could, right?
Yes.
Now, from the time that Mr. Horner was born, what I'm getting the impression of is that you've always been there for him, haven't you?
Yes.
And even all the problems with his mother and everything going on in the house, you were still working and you were still taking care of him, weren't you?
Yes.
And it sounds like, to me, you were pretty much his mom.
Well, I was Mimi.
But you fed him, right?
Mm-hmm.
You clothed him. Is that right?
Yep.
Put a roof over his head.
Yes.
Even into his 30s, when he was struggling, you still put a roof over his head.
Yes.
And I'm betting you still cooked for him, even in his 30s, when he was there at your place.
I would, if he's a good cook.
Okay. But you were still helping him even into his 30s, right?
Yes.
And all the things that we're talking about, you showed up and you were the one there every time for him, right?
I believe so.
And as part of that, you taught him how to behave, right?
Try to redirect it to something more positive.
Right. I'm guessing you tried to show him some work ethic,
Yes.
give him some skills to be a grown man in the world, right?
Yes.
Maybe even gave him some dad advice whenever he had his kid and how to take care of his kid, I bet. Is that right?
Yep.
Have you been keeping up with the testimony in this case?
Not all of it.
Not all of it.
No, when I found out I wasn't supposed to watch it, I quit watching it.
I think the judge appreciates that. But when we first talked to you in this case, you didn't really know what Tanner had actually done, did you?
No,
You know now, don't you?
yes.
Now, I just want to be clear about a couple of things here. Who's responsible for putting us here today where we are today?
I'm sorry, what?
Who's responsible for putting us here for where we are today?
Tanner.
Not his stress of being in work or anything like that. That's not responsible for why we're here today. is it?
No,
Not the fact that he had Asperger's. That's not putting us here today, is it?
you want me to answer that?
Yes.
I think his problems had something to do with it.
He knows right from wrong, though, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
He knows not to kill,
Yes, he knows that.
knows not to sexually assault a child.
Totally shocked. I couldn't believe it myself. And it doesn't sound like him.
And correct me if I'm wrong, and I want to make clear about this. On the day after the offense, you communicated with him and sent him pictures of Athena, did you not?
I took a picture because it was on the TV. And I called him and said, Tanner, I know you're working out in paradise. Please look out for this little girl. She's missing.
This was after he'd already killed her and after he'd already dumped her.
Well, I didn't know that.
Well, you know now that was when.
Yeah.
And what was his response to you when you informed him about this little girl missing and you sent him a picture? What was his response?
It was like, okay, I'll look out for her. It was kind of a generic answer. But he didn't dwell on it. Huh? He didn't dwell on it.
He didn't say he did it, did he?
Oh, no,
He didn't admit anything to you, did
no.
he?
I would have called you.
That's witness. Redirect.
Jackie, you know what happened in this case now? Are you angry with your grandson?
Yes, I am.
Even though you're angry with him, and you still love him?
Well, sure, I still love him. I'm very angry and I'm still working through this. But I still love him.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. State.
That's brother.
Okay, we're done for the day. And I will see y'all Monday morning, okay? Enjoy your weekend. Stay dry.
Wow, Chris, that was whew.
Yeah, I was sure wasn't expecting that kind of a bombshell. I mean, that hurt. That grandma texted him to be on the lookout for the little missing girl. And he said, yeah, I will, grandma. That's, wow. That's not good is an understatement.
So, yeah, because you and I we both perked up as we got there towards the end.
Yeah.
When,
That's a killer.
starting with when we're on direct, when she's apologizing and talking about how devastated she is, and
which was good.
Which was good, and she prays for him, and then we go to cross, and it's short,
right?
But it is effective.
Yeah. See, I would have left it alone because I didn't know that there was that text on there.
He knew though.
Yeah, he did, and he was just, we'll just let this thing go as long as we can, and then, pow, and how do you recover from that?
I don't think you can. I mean, and you go through and you talk about and you point out over and over how he had her support. Is who's responsible for putting us here? Tanner. And you talked about how he gets her to admit how shocked she is, and the whole thing about the picture. I mean, it's just, and then just up and down the line.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that I certainly was not expecting that. Had anyone ever mentioned anything like that?
No. I mean, you and I have gone through hours and hours of her testimony watching this, and it was pretty boring and struggling to stay awake. And then right here at the end, the last basically 5 minutes of it, if I had to if I was doing a story on, if I was putting this together for TV, which I know Rebecca will be, that'd be what I would draw from right there at the end.
Sure. And I mean, at least, I don't know, you'd want to try and bury it in some other testimony, rather than have it be the last thing the jurors hear before they break for 3 days.
Well, why didn't the defense attorney bring it out? She had to have known about it.
You would think, but maybe Grandma was supposed to. Maybe the plan was she was supposed to mention it earlier, or something. I don't know.
But she never asked the question that would get you there. I mean, that I recall.
No,
because the question that got us there was,
did you send him
it had to do with the picture.
You knew he was in the neighborhood.
You knew he was in the neighborhood, and then it goes from there. And she says it. And that's how we get there.
Right.
And he was like, okay, I'll look out for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We got Rebecca Lopez on a video
call. I want to know how that went over in the courtroom, if she knows.
Well, let me just start with when they were handing out the pictures of Tanner and his son. I could just feel the emotion from Athena's family, because here they are, a picture. I could see the picture too. The picture was a Tanner holding him as a baby, and then a baby photo of Tanner's son, and then them together taking like a selfie. Because I saw the pictures at the jury box. I seen close enough to the jury box. And I mean, the jurors, there was no real reaction, but the impact that it had on Athena's family was very palpable. You could just feel the emotion and frustration. It's amazing that this family's been able to sit there with this much composure while the defense is showing these pictures of Tanner and happy mom with him. It's like, oh, we've heard all about Tanner's bad days. Let's just talk about all the good times. And I visibly saw his dad just take Athena's dad, just take a sigh of relief. I mean, like not relief, but just a frustrated sigh. Like, I can't believe that, we're going through this. It really, I don't know what that did for the defense at all. And then the family really didn't react, and the jury just kind of straight ahead as she was sort of apologizing to the family. I don't think that helped at all for the defense.
Chris?
Well, what about the part when Grandma sent the text? And yeah, I agree with you. I'm surprised Athena's dad didn't stand up or make it. I'm sure it took everything he had in him to retain his composure there in the courtroom. So good for him. But what about when? What about when?
This family has restrained.
Go ahead, Chris.
Amazingly. What about when the prosecutor quizzed grandma about the text message to look out for this little girl who's been kidnapped? I mean, how did that go over?
Yeah, it was. I mean, first I looked at the jury first, and the jury they looked almost like they looked angry. I mean, they just look like they are.
Yeah.
But some of them aren't showing a lot of emotion. A couple of them looked visibly angry, and Athena's family it's amazing that they were able to restrain themselves, because you can feel like their frustration and the fact that, he was so callous, and you could feel it. You could feel their emotion. I want to talk to Athena's mom after this is all said. There's still a gag order, so they can't really talk. But I do see them in and out of the courtroom, and I see them every day. It is just, when the grandma's talking about, oh, this is horrific, and what impact did it have on you? I also kind of felt like that was an insensitive question to ask her from the defense when in front of Athena, like, well, the impact it had on you. What about the impact it had on us? We lost our daughter, our loved one. But you could just feel the emotion from the family. And the restraint that they used to not get up in the courtroom and say something.
If you had grandma on the stand, Chris, how would you have handled that? I mean, because you and I were both looking at each other a bit in shock. Like,
I don't think I would have put her on if I'd known that little tidbit was waiting in cross-examination. I would have left it. I don't think I would have put her on the stand at all.
It's like a bomb, like just waiting to explode.
Yeah, unless you think the prosecutor's going to call her.
But if you're going to do it, then you do it. You don't let them do it.
That's typically the way you'd handle that. Yes. So I don't know if they wanted to get ahead of it and call her before the prosecutor called her to get that out. Yeah, I don't think it did Tanner any favors.
No, not at all. Rebecca, you had something else to add?
Well, especially when they ask her there at the end, the prosecution on redirect, look, you are, who brought us here? Why are we here? Well, Tanner Horner. Well, did his burgers have anything that brought us here? No. Did his stress bring us here? No. And, she wanted to say, well, it did have an impact on, who he was. But at the end of the day, she ended up acknowledging that we are here because of Tanner's actions. And then she said, I'm angry. And that's when she started to, really apologize to Athena's family, just like his mom did. And she says, oh, I'm still trying to make it, through this. I'm still struggling with this. But Athena's family also struggles with this, and they're going to have to deal with the loss of their loved one every single day for the rest of their lives. And just feel like her testimony did not help the defense. And again, the first half of that, the jury just looked like they were zoned out. They didn't really care about anything that she said prior to maybe those last 5 minutes. They were struggling to stay awake. They were moving around. They looked frustrated. Some were holding their heads. Some were like, playing with a pen. I mean, the jury was also, I think, had, trying to restrain their emotions of how they were feeling about that testimony. Then, after what she's, when they were looking at the pictures of Tanner and the pictures that they're passing around, the pictures of the Bible, I actually saw one juror smirk when they were passing the pictures around of this big Bible that she gave him with the notes that he was taking. I don't think that went over really well with the jury either.
Chris, is that tone deaf?
You'd think so. Yeah. Like I said, I don't think I would have put grandma on the stand or had her anywhere near the courthouse if I knew that was coming as a text message. I mean, that's just, we're going to hear about that again during closing argument.
So we can count on it?
I would imagine we will hear that again. Everyone will be reminded all about that during closing argument.
Do you think that the prosecution ultimately turned grandma into a prosecution witness?
That little tidbit was worth them having to sit through, a couple hours of what a bad home life he had, for sure. Yeah, and you know that 5-minute cross examination canceled out everything she had to say and ended up net hurting grandson. I think, and I don't think I'm alone thinking that.
Yeah, Rebecca.
Yeah, they're going to get an hour each on closing arguments. I asked the judge at the time limits, and they said that each side's going to have an hour. So the prosecutors, obviously, they begin, and then the defense goes, and then the prosecution goes again. I think that you're gonna have them end very strongly, and I'm sure they're going to have the picture of little Athena Strand up there, or even the picture of her standing there with him, or both of them up there. That's what the jury's going to remember. That's what the jury is really going to see. And that's what they're not going to be able to hear that hour-long call, what he did. And then to hear what grandma just said, oh yeah, I called him and said, look for the little girl. And he's like very indifferent. That is all going to come into play. They're going to remember. And grandma saying, well, yeah, I really don't think that any of the stress and all that he was going through, because every single person in that courtroom deals with stress. Everybody is stressed at some level in their lives, and everyone can relate about being stressed, but not everyone goes out and relieves their stress by going and killing a little girl. And so I think that the prosecution is going to, really hone in on that.
Yeah, and we've heard 7 days of the defense's case, and we get to the end of it, and we've heard what I'm going to quote Jen Falk again. We've heard a lot of excuses, but no explanations, and I don't think there's anything that could explain this.
You can't explain it. So all you can do is try and focus on things that might possibly mitigate it, and that grandmother's and Tanner's exchange there about be on the lookout for the missing girl, that aggravates it. That doesn't mitigate it. As a juror, I'm thinking, well, that guy, that worthless SOB gets this message from grandma, whose heart was in the right place. Look, I know you're in the neighborhood. It didn't occur to her that she was texting the killer. Right. She said, look out for this little girl.
Because who would want to think that your grandson had done something so horrific?
Sure. But wow.
And then they kept coming up with these trying to come up with these scenarios where Tanner was victimized by somebody, whether it was the grandfather, and then but in my mind and I kept picturing what he was doing to Athena. You could not disassociate those two. They're talking about, oh, poor Tanner got, and then, that's horrible that anybody would be beat a child. That's terrible. But then you're thinking about, when they're trying to get some sympathy for Tanner having gone through what he did. But then when you think about what he did to Athena and what she endured and the torture that he put her through for an hour, I think that testimony also probably did not sit well with the jury.
Chris?
No, this is, as I said, this is an impossible case for the defense, and now it's even more impossible after grandma's little exchange. I sure would not want to be the defense lawyer with this set of facts against me. It's impossible.
Right.
Really
and then you even have his own mother saying that she was afraid that he might hurt his own son. It's like,
yeah,
with family like that, who needs enemies? Because clearly even they don't have much nice to say, really.
Well, and you got to admire their honesty.
Well, and then they decide, yeah.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Well, and then they don't even call the brother who they were going to call. Well, they didn't even call the brother who they were going to initially call, but there was something that they feared the brother was going to say, because honestly, I think the more damning testimony was mom and grandma. That had probably the most impact on this case versus all of the witnesses, besides obviously what the prosecution, but I'm talking about what the defense put out. That was not helpful at all. And it was very powerful to hear both mom and grandma say what they said. And they couldn't excuse anything that he did either. And so, the jury is going to remember all that.
Hey, Rebecca, folks want to know what was the family's reaction to the grandma's apology for what happened to Athena?
They just sat straight ahead, looking straight ahead. There was no real reaction at all. They've had to really rein in their emotions, and I think that they've done a very good job. And they didn't react really. They just kind of look ahead. Now, during some of the testimony, I could see the family looking at each other, and people in the audience, people in the gallery, kind of rolling their eyes at some of the testimony, but they just sort of stayed. They kept their composure and looked straight ahead. They really didn't react.
Chris, why is that important? Let's explain that to folks. Why is it important that her family not react?
Well, you don't want to add to the circus atmosphere of the thing,
but also for appellate reasons. Let's talk about like the legal reasons. I'm sure they've been told, hey, keep it tamped down, right?
Well, sure, yeah. If it was me, I don't think I could stand to be in the courtroom. I would be in the hallway. I don't think I could listen to it and stay composed, at least not, I don't know how it acted, breaking down, crying, or any disruptive, certainly. But yeah, I'm sure they've been told, keep it together. Don't show any reaction. If for appellate reasons, it could be, we don't want you to react to try and influence the jury.
Right.
They've already testified, so the defense and the state has agreed to waive the rule as to their. Ordinarily, witnesses are excluded from the courtroom, but since they've already testified and wanted to sit through it, they can make exceptions and let the family stay there. But again, the judge would have the option, if they were disruptive, to make them wait out in the hallway. And
it could also cause a mistrial if something like that happened. So it's important that
if it was big enough. Yeah, if somebody came over the rail and tried to attack Tanner, yeah, that could precipitate a mistrial.
Right.
Even all outbursts of any kind could. Probably not, but could, depending on what it was. It could.
Right. Hey, Rebecca, folks want to know what Tanner Horner's reaction was to his grandma's testimony. Did you ever see any reaction from him?
No, there was only one time, and honestly, it was hard to hear what she said, but she said something when she was reacting to the picture of him and his son.
Are we about to lose her? Oh, we lost her. She'll be back. We'll talk for a bit longer, folks. If y'all have more questions, we'll spend a little bit more time answering them. People want to know: do you think there'll be victim impact statements? Yes.
Oh, for sure.
I would absolutely. Now, victim impact and comes after everything's been decided, because those are quote unquote off the record. Those are not the court reporter's not. But they're basically after everything has been concluded and the jury's been released.
Right, and typically the jury in there, it's basically a time at the very, very end, after all the decisions have been made about the case, for the family to kind of vent and, let them know directly to the defendant what they think.
Right.
And that's also a test for a family to try and keep that as civil as you can. Without having it degenerate into some kind of name calling in the courtroom, and I've seen it go both ways. I've seen eloquent victim impact statements that moved everybody to tears, and I've seen some of them where the judge had to cut it off because it got so out of hand. So
people are asking, but what about the brother testifying? For reasons that we are not clear on, the brother is not going to testify. We were expecting him to testify throughout the entire trial. You have to think that the defense didn't think his testimony would help, is what it boils down to. And certainly mom didn't help, and neither did grandma.
Or brother decided, hey man, I'm
peace out.
Yeah, I'm out of here. I don't want any part of this sinking ship.
I mean, he's in jail in a 75-year sentence himself. So he also will never see the free world again. So clearly, I mean, there's no doubt. We have heard now for a month, this family had some pretty significant problems. I mean, this was no doubt. But
for sure. And I'm sympathetic to that. Everybody probably is sympathetic to the childhood that the guy had.
Exactly.
It's shared by tens of thousands of families in the United States also.
But they don't go out and kill. They don't go out and commit sexual assault. I mean, all the things.
Bingo.
All right,
They don't.
Rebecca. Exactly. All right, Rebecca, let's bring you back in. All right, we keep losing you. The signal in that courthouse. Hey, before I forget to ask, because people keep asking.
Yeah, well,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure, because Jason has a question and also everybody in the chat. The defense, they didn't rest, did they?
No, the defense has not rested their case. They have one more witness on Monday, and then there'll be rebuttal witnesses. Right. But no, they have not rested their case.
That's what I thought, but I wanted to verify because people kept asking.
And yeah,
right, it's the psychiatrist.
Yeah, and also, I have confirmed that there will be 2 impact statements from the family, Athena's family, after the verdict is read.
Do we know who that will be from?
Right after.
It's got to be mom.
I don't, but I suspect it's probably going to be mom and maybe one of the sisters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Dad did seem kind of soft-spoken, and maybe he has elected not to.
Right. Oh, somebody's asking, what did the son's brother do? It's an evading arrest case. He had some prior felonies, and in Texas, if you get tagged as a habitual offender, so that's how he ended up with 75 years in prison, which is a really unusual sentence. Okay, so somebody's asking, can you expand on the rebuttal witnesses, Rebecca?
Who the rebuttal witnesses are going to be?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know it's going to be 2 experts. One I've already heard, and he is also a doctor that has evaluated Tanner Horner, has spent time with Tanner Horner, has looked at all of his records. And I remember initially when I was hearing his testimony, I thought, well, perhaps this guy is not going to be very good for the defense because he says, oh, I don't think he's autistic. Then I realized that he was a rebuttal witness. So he's going to testify that he does not believe that Tanner Horner falls on the autism spectrum. And he's also going to testify he doesn't believe that he has a lot of these other disorders. And that he had, some sort of fetishes. So that that's what I believe, at least that if he testifies the way we heard him during the hearings, that's what you're going to hear from at least one of the expert witnesses. You're also going to hear probably from an expert from the prison system that's going to talk about what it's like in the general population versus death row kind of thing. And then I don't know who the third witness is. Maybe it is somebody that's going to be able to come from the other side of Tanner Horner's family or something that comes out and says, all this stuff happened to me too. I don't know. I don't know who that third witness is, but there is a third witness. That's what I'm hearing.
You think we're through with surprises, Chris?
I thought we were through with surprises this morning, and Grandma, I didn't think she was bringing anything to the party, and she brought it for the
right
prosecution.
There at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was probably not the intent.
No. Wow. Yeah, that's that was really devastating, I think.
Yeah, I Rebecca, I have a hard time understanding. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you guys were asking me before I went out the last time, before the signal dropped, that what Tanner Horner's reaction was. And really, I think there was just that one time when his grandma said something when they're looking at the picture of him and his son and something, and he did smile. That's the only reaction I've ever really seen from him. Although he was writing notes to his attorneys during some of Grandma's testimony, but I don't know what. Obviously, we didn't know what he was writing, but and he would just kind of look up, and then when we came back after the break, they had his diploma up on the screen, and again, I'm thinking, what is the point of putting up his diploma up there? Because again, Athena's never going to get a diploma there. She's never going to get a chance to get, any of this. But I just feel like I don't think the defense maybe thought that through, because it did not sit well. I don't think that the jury, they were just, some of them actually looked angry. And some of them looked bored and disinterested in what this witness had to say.
Chris, do you think, you and I were talking about that sometimes as a lawyer, you can spend too much time with a client and maybe start, I don't want to say identify too much, but did they like lose the forest for the trees here?
That's a possibility, especially in a case has this many witnesses, this many moving parts. You've got expert witnesses coming at you from all parts of the country, and maybe it's one of those cases where you just get too close to it, where you can't see the big picture.
Right.
I am not going to guess as to why we heard some of these witnesses. It could be that these are witnesses that Tanner felt very strongly to be called on his behalf. And, the lawyer could say, hey, man, we might not want to do this. Are you sure? Yep, I really want you to call grandmother. All right. And you call the witness out there. He may have thought it was going great. I don't know. But, without knowing all the background and details of the case, I hate to be armchair quarterback.
Oh, but that's what we do here.
Why? I understand. But, a lot of this doesn't seem to be terribly helpful.
Right. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Tanya, one of the things that the prosecution, and I don't know that they'll do this, but when they brought up the inmate and he's talking about Tanner is a good character and we're buddies and all this, there has been some evidence in the past, and I don't know why it's not come up in this trial, where he has made racist comments. And I wonder if some of that's going to come up in rebuttal, that, he has said, use some derogatory terms in referring to minorities. So so when they talk about, oh, he's a good character, and they've got this guy up here saying that, he has not shown me anything different, but he has shown that side of himself as well in the past.
I don't know.
It's possible, or it could be that the prosecution just says, we're not even going to go in that direction. We don't need to.
Right. Here's one thing that people are asking in the chat, and I think we all kind of think we know why the text was so important, but folks want you to explain in detail, why was that text that, the thing that Grandma sent to Tanner and then his response back, why is that so important? That's what folks want you to explain.
I just think it shows just a cold-blooded response. No response would have been better than, okay, Grandma, I'll keep my eyes open for her. And kind of the subtext of it is that, these people are out among us.
Right.
And we don't know who they are.
Even Grandma didn't know.
Grandma didn't know. She had no idea. And Grandma, God love her, thought she was being helpful by sending this text out. Hey, Sonny, be sure and keep an eye out. Not knowing that Athena was, in all likelihood,
he'd already killed her and dumped her body by then.
Yeah. And he says, okay, I sure will. I mean, that, and then the roadblock incident.
Oh, that video.
My God. And, and just time after time, it just keeps compounding. It shows no remorse, no heart, no consciousness of guilt, or at least consciousness of the monster, in his own words, that he was. Every time you turn, there's something else comes up that just doesn't help him at all.
No. Okay, Rebecca?
Well, and now we know why they're seeking the death penalty.
And I think that
exactly.
Yeah. And I think that that's what you're going to hear from the final, the rebuttal witness, the expert that also evaluated Tanner Horner. You're going to hear him say he is nothing but a cold-blooded killer. He does not have these disorders. He is not autistic. Is not on the autism spectrum disorder.
we starting to lose her?
Defense, put forward. Tanya.
And I really think they're getting off base with this whole autism thing. I think that's a non-issue, and I think they're turning it into an issue that it doesn't need to be.
Well, and quite frankly, it's insulting. A lot of people have members of their family
Sure.
that are autistic.
Right.
I have a nephew who has autism. He would be considered high functioning. If you met him, you would not know it unless you knew it.
Yeah, and are we trying to say? I don't know what we're trying to say, but I think they're really losing people with that too. You know, if the event that is true, it's you know, interesting, but I don't think it's breaking this case open. And I agree. I think it's insulting to try and say that, oh, he's autistic, therefore what, he's not responsible for his actions. I mean, that's not what that means.
Well, and it's pretty clear Grandma believes he knows right from wrong.
Right.
He knows
sure.
you shouldn't kill.
And
he knows you shouldn't sexually assault a little girl. He knows all these things.
And autistic people know that too, I think.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly.
Don't try and insult.
Don't insult my
Right.
intelligence or the jurors' intelligence.
Right. I think it's backfiring, personally.
Rebecca? Can you hear us?
Yeah. No, I can't hear you, but yeah, I'm gonna have to hop off because I go get ready for our shows.
All right, cool. Thanks, Rebecca. Appreciate you. All right,
Okay.
folks.
All
Chris and I are going to stay on till 4:00 Central Time. So we'll answer questions while we wait. Someone wants to know, do you think there was an investigation into whether there are other victims? Oh, I'm sure there's an investigation. I mean, I'm sure they've looked at that. So I'm sure that's been looked at. I'm sure his DNA has been entered into CODIS.
Oh my God, yeah.
No doubt. And so
the Rangers and all their resources put against this, I'm sure they've looked at any kind of similar missing persons in, you know, within a few hundred miles of this place. It can't link them to anything.
Oh, people want to know, will we get to see them go over jury instructions tomorrow? No, folks, that's not something that they really, that's not really there's not really a hearing on that, right? That's something that's done kind of in judges' chambers.
Well, yeah.
Typically.
You know, there's a standard boilerplate charge, and then each side will have an opportunity to say, well, you know, is there anything you'd like in it, that there'll be a failure to testify or whatever, you know, moving parts in it. And then, you know, a lot of it comes down to printing it out. The lawyers are sitting at the tables reading it, and then it's like, oh, judge, we have we're missing a comma here, or this we got a misspelling here. And they print out another copy. Everybody looks at it. It's really, it's like watching paint dry.
Oh yeah. Well, no, but no, that will not be live streamed. The judges, was only allowing us to live stream stuff that's in the presence of the jury. Okay, somebody's asking if you're on death row, if you can do TV interviews. I think so, because I believe there have been like documentaries that have done, and I think Rebecca's interviewed some death row inmates, and so the answer is yes, they can do it. They can do interviews.
I would think, yeah, you'd have to have the clearance. I don't think it'd be a routine thing, but I think from time to time.
Yeah, I know it happens. Somebody wants to know, will we stream the appeal if Tanner Horner gets the death penalty? I mean, if there's something to stream, we'll stream it. It's just, it depends on, but we will be streaming obviously through the remainder of the trial anytime that court is in session. Okay, so somebody wants to know, and I don't know if you know this, is which prison is worse, the death penalty or like a regular prison where he would spend life?
If you're on death row, you've got your own cell, you're there with people, who are also on death row, and they are specifically equipped to hold you there. You have very little contact with anybody else because obviously you've been found to be a continuing danger. If you're in general population doing life without parole, you will probably end up sort of with other folks in the same, high security,
right?
People with the same or similar sentences, maybe or maybe not. People with child cases, you might be in there mixed in with anybody else. it is, it is, in my opinion, it would be far more dangerous as the defendant, as Tanner Horner. It'd be far more personally dangerous to him to be in general population
Well, yeah,
than it would be to be on death row.
that's how Shamirmir ended up dead. Billy
Yeah,
Shamirmir, our
yeah.
local serial killer, was killed a few years ago.
Yeah. And
So-
yeah, I think he's got a target on his back with this kind of a case. You know, I would hate to place odds on it, but he might live longer on death row than he would in general population.
Yeah, I think you're right. There'd be some prison, probably be some an attempt at what we call prison justice.
Yeah.
Will we get to hear the victim statements? Of course, if they allow us to stream them, and I don't know why they wouldn't. But we would if we are allowed to stream them, we will stream them. So
it just occurred to me, if they're going to call a prison expert to talk about death row, I would imagine that he would be asked the same thing. What's the life expectancy of a child murderer in general pop versus on death row?
right.
So, you know, the prosecution might not get the answer they're looking for, especially if the jury, I don't know. If I knew that as a juror, I might think, you know what, if I really want to hurt this guy, put him in general pop and don't give him the death penalty.
Oh, somebody says if he gets the life without parole, can he appeal? I don't think so because he pled guilty.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I can't see.
That's
what
a
you
great
would,
question.
That's a really interesting question
great
because I know
question.
they had contested a lot of stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah,
that,
what do you appeal? I wanted
I mean,
death. There's
yeah.
nothing to appeal. There's no guilt innocence. I think it's over.
I think so. Oh, people want to know where you can watch my stories. Well, I'm a reporter at WFA.com. You can follow me. You know, you follow our website, and also, you know, I frequently show up on the station's YouTube page. So I'm an investigative reporter. So in my other part of my job, I've covered all kinds of issues from, you know, disabled people being hurt in group homes. Most recently, trucking safety. Did a whole bunch of stories on trucking safety. So I do, as Chris, and then of course I've been covering the criminal justice system for 100 years.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
So I've been around a long time. Let's see. I'm looking here to see if anybody has. People are asking, do they think he'll end up in Gen Pop? I mean, I guess they could put him in some sort of protective custody. Who knows?
You know, it's gonna be up to you know, the warden in the prison system.
Exactly. Somebody asked why there's no trial tomorrow. Well, that's because they're working on the jury charge. Okay, folks. I feel like I'm looking at your questions to see if there's anything else I really think we should need to answer today. And I think the answer is no. So what we're going to do, what I always do, because I know Jason and Zeke are over there waiting for me to, you know, decide to stop talking. Okay. First of all, thank you for being with us today, Chris.
Sure.
But I'm going to do what I always do with every guest. We're going to give a quick summation about what happened. So we had these two autism spectrum experts who testified about some stuff this morning that frankly didn't add much. And then we heard hours and hours of testimony from Tanner Horner's grandma. And most of it was pretty uneventful until the last 5 minutes. And I'm going to let you give the summation of what we saw in that last 5 minutes.
The last 5 minutes after a couple hours of basically filler background information, the last 5 minutes, the prosecutor, in 3 or 4 questions, got grandma to admit that she didn't have to admit it. I guess he already knew that grandma had sent a text message to Tanner Horner, who she knew was working in the neighborhood, to be on the lookout for the little girl who'd been kidnapped, not knowing that she was sending the actual killer a text message to that effect. And he responded that he would be sure to do so when in his, he knew that he had already killed her, sexually assaulted her, and dumped her body in a shallow pond, presumably not to ever be found.
Yeah.
That's what he knew when he was texting his grandmother back. And I think that is just absolutely devastating testimony from his own grandmother. Wow. I sure wasn't expecting that. But the prosecutor was just rubbing his prosecutor hands together, just waiting to cross-examine her, and pow.
Because he knew that text. He knew that text message because they had downloaded Tanner's phone.
Sure. Yeah. He couldn't wait.
Wow.
Yeah. I bet he was thrilled when they called her, and he's just over there, just waiting to get a crack at her.
Oh wow. Man. Because most of the testimony today was pretty much like watching paint dry on the wall.
Man, it was a snooze fest till the last 10 minutes.
And then I woke up and I'm like, there we go. Okay.
Wow.
And for that last 5-10 minutes, the rest of the paint drying today became worth it.
Exactly.
Yep. And that's the jury is going to forget all the stuff that preceded it, right?
Right. And the last thing they heard pretty much before they go home to kind of meditate on this for 3 days was grandma. Wow. That hurt. It really hurt, I think. It hurt.
All right, folks. Tomorrow we will be re-airing this live stream because, of course, there's no court tomorrow. So we're going to re-air this live stream. And so, if you feel like watching us all over again in replay, it'll be great. And then we will be back Monday morning, I assume 8:30, because court's typically been starting at 9. So I'm going to guess 8:30, and I will see you then.
Boys and girls all over the world are being abused and tortured.
The worst moments of these children's lives, they're being videotaped and they're being shared with other offenders all over the world.
Many people would refer to this as CSAM, child sexual abuse material.
They are suffering and they don't think that anyone is coming to help them. But we can. We can build that army and we can go get them.
Come be a part of this team that is trying to push back this evil.